Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Feeling good? I know I am. I'm feeling real good. So good. How are you guys? Oh, man. People are pretty dumb, huh? I made the mistake of trying to look up, like, just some stuff on Twitter to talk about, and Jesus Christ almighty. There's, oh baby, there's some really dumbass takes. You know, Twitter started paying out based on impressions and stuff. So if you have tweets that go viral, you can actually make money on them. And initially that sounds great. Wow, you can actually live life and work as a creator on Twitter, which is bizarre. However, it's created a culture where people will say just outrageous things, and it gets attention. And the person who originally said it was not trying to be like serious. They were kind of rage baiting, and then they get all the benefit from the increased exposure, but then everybody else starts to take it seriously and nobody knows the difference. It's weird. Yeah, the whole Starfield menu screen. Yeah. And then there's other things like this. This was amazing to me. I'm not going to say who it was just because I don't want to fling poo. But I mean, a Google search and you can find out who posted it. You guys are smart. But somebody tweeted out, I saw this last night. It's another YouTuber who no doubt you've seen. And if you watch my stuff, you probably know who it is. I'm not going to confirm or deny who this was. I'm just not. But this person tweeted out, I was too busy playing Starfield to notice the start screen drama. Nobody's going to give a shit about the start screen after playing this game. I don't think he realizes that alone breaks an NDA. Like, what he just did was give his impression of a game he's signed an NDA for. You can't do that, dude. Can't do that. That is non bene. That is bad. And he just like casually, confidently tweets this out. I'm like, okay, so bro, be ready to never receive review codes again, because what you just did is very much not okay. Dumb. Some people are saying, no, now he's backtracking. He's trying to say he doesn't have a review code or something. I'm like, he says he's playing it right now. Okay. There's a lot of people breaking NDAs right now. Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm reviewing it. I've signed an NDA. I've agreed to all of those terms. So we had a video I was going to film this week on Starfield, kind of like a last minute, here's what we know kind of type of thing. And we canceled that video because I'm not confident I'd be able to do that video in a way that is not informed by my time with the game so far. If that makes sense. Like, there's just no way to set aside my experience with the game now and pretend like I haven't played it, you know? So, I just don't mess with it. Just won't bother. But some people apparently are just casually coming out and like, just dropping. So I don't know. It's just amazing to me. Anyway. So yeah, there's probably also going to be a lot of crap with, I'm sorry, my brain is fried. A picture of Liver King popped up on my timeline and I don't know what to, how do I respond to this? Is he okay? I don't think he's okay. Like, bro. That's just so nasty. Oh, God. Sorry. He looks very ill. I've mentioned this before. I have like family members and I know people who in the past also have gotten really into bodybuilding. We knew this guy at the old gym we used to go to named Rudy, and he was a former like bodybuilder from the 90s. He was really helpful. Like he gave a ton of advice on like proper technique to get good like a good pump and to see the most progress. And so Rudy was great. But Rudy was from that age of like in the 90s where you just inject yourself with bull semen and you like, I don't even know what they did, but it's just amazing that any of them are still alive today. And they just cram themselves so full of HGH and insulin and steroids and all sorts of stuff that they get quick results and they look insane, but it destroys them mentally. It destroys their hormones. Like they just get destroyed. It's horrible. And yeah, Liver King kind of looks like he aged 30 years. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Your body's just, shocker, your body's not meant to be pumped full of like bull tranquilizers and human growth hormone and all that stuff. And also, I don't think you're supposed to eat raw chicken. I think that's a no-no. So those, when he got canceled, that whole thing, if you never saw like the leaked DMs and emails and stuff from him, for one, it wasn't cool that they leaked all of it, just to be clear. But once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. And his whole thing was just like, his mission was to be famous, to get on Joe Rogan's show. He wanted to be like popular, and he achieved it for a little while, and then he got called out because his whole thing was like, this is just what happens when you eat nothing but raw meat. And everybody's like, no, it's what happens when you eat only raw meat and like nothing but bull testosterone and gorilla blood and all sorts of insanity. He was actually obsessed with Joe Rogan. Yeah, he apparently tried to get on Joe Rogan like 11 times, and Joe was like, nope, I'm good. Zach, what I will say is like, I've not seen anything online that I would deem like an actual spoiler. It's the same thing that happened with like The Last of Us Part 2 when people started trying to leak spoilers for that, and it ended up that a lot of the stuff they were leaking was not true. Like the big leak for The Last of Us Part 2 was that Abby was trans and blah 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 goes, and you spend the entire game playing as her and everything. And it wasn't true. Like, it just wasn't true. Maybe like a little piece of it was true, but the whole thing was basically started by a disgruntled contract worker who had seen a little sliver of the game, saw the model of Abby and was like, oh, she's super buff. She must have been, it must be trans or something. And that's where it all started. So yeah, the whole thing is messy. I will have a review for Immortals of Avium going up tomorrow morning. Still think how they should have killed Abby. I think they didn't want to kill off a character like that they have a lot of potential with. I don't know where they're going next. I don't know if they're doing another Ellie story or something. They've said a few times, they were like, we never, or what did they say exactly? It was, The Last of Us is the story of Joel and Ellie, I think is how they phrased it. So they apparently don't see a way of telling The Last of Us story without them. So I don't think we'll ever have just like an Abby game, or just like, I don't even know what else they would do. I mean, maybe like another Tommy spinoff. I just don't think they would ever do that, frankly. Do you think Rockstar will ever make Red Dead Redemption 3? I imagine so. I think Rockstar's probably in the same spot that Bethesda felt they were in after Fallout 4, where at this point they're going to get GTA 6 out. Then they're like, okay, we got one more game after that, and then GTA 7 in 15 years. So what do we do? And I would guess that they want to try something fresh. And there's been all sorts of leaks of some sort of Rockstar medieval game coming out down the road. So we'll see. We'll see. I would love to see their take on something that's not like cowboy or modern day. I would love to see them do something medieval. It'd be so cool. Is it true that some people are already reviewing Starfield? Oh yeah. No, Bethesda and Xbox, to their credit, sent out review codes, as far as I can tell, about 2 weeks ahead of time, which is awesome. It's a lot more time than normally people give. Lord Kev, by the way, thank you for becoming a member. 2 months. There we go. 2 months. Be careful when rage baiting. Don't want you to accidentally pull a muscle. Pull a muscle.
Podcast donated $5 through Super Chat.
Thank you, my friend.
Speaking of Starfield, am I the only person who hates non-voiced protagonists? Link is an exception. Link talking would be like a cat barking.
That's funny. I think the reason that I just think, like, after Fallout 4 was a really fun experiment for BGS, where they tried to do like a more serious narrative, and they tried to have like a really grounded story about a father trying to save his son, or a mother trying to save her son. And they did this like voiced protagonist where every line was voice acted, and the really cinematic camera and all this. And I think parts of it worked really well. I loved the cinematic camera and that stuff, but other parts just didn't. Like the voice protagonist, I can't even tell you how many times I would select a dialogue option and it just came out not at all what I thought it would be. And it was always like 3 words. Yeah, that works. But then the line that's actually delivered is 3 sentences long and carries a bunch of baggage. So there are some mods you can get. There are some mods you can get that like type out the full response and show what's actually going to be said. It like pulls from the subtitle file and shows what is actually going to be said. So there's ways around it, at least on PC, but it was a fun experiment. As for where they're trying to shift to, it just seems to me like they're trying to return to roots a little bit more. Krabby Cat 1 month from now. Star failed. Oh, dude, that's too good of a title not to use. That's funny. That's pretty funny. Oh, man. Have you seen the new Wukong gameplay? Yeah, we can take a peek at it. I think it looks pretty good. It's very weird for them to send out review codes that early. I'm still skeptical, but I gotta agree. It kind of shows that they're pretty confident about this project. Yeah, I mean, more time, a game in the hands of reviewers for more time is always a good thing. Like, whether it's, like usually, and I know this isn't always the case. Sometimes there's amazing games that go out to reviewers a day before or the day of release. So it's not necessarily like always like this. Like Hi-Fi Rush, nobody got review codes early. Everybody got it at the same time. So sometimes that's a thing. But usually the more time a company gives to reviewers, the better. Plus, for big games, it gives people a chance to actually like really test the game and push it to its limits, you know? Thank you, my friend.
Brandon Reyes donated $4.99 through Super Chat.
Yeah, you did.
September to November is stacked besides Spider-Man and Starfield. What other games you looking forward to?
Liza P.
I gotta go with Alan Wake 2.
Alan Wake 2 I'll check out. Liza P I'm really excited for. After that demo, I'm all on board. So Liza P. I think there was something else. There's something else I was excited for. If you get Starfield on Game Pass, do you get access to the early access? Only if you pay I think it's $36 or $38 upcharge to the premium edition. So you have to pay extra. Persona Tactica. Oh yeah, there's the Avatar game. That's true. AC Mirage. Yeah, no, I keep for some reason thinking that's coming in like a couple weeks. It's not. Like I keep thinking like, oh yeah, so like we'll get that right around the time Starfield fully launches. I'm like, no, not at all. Phantom Liberty. Yeah, Phantom Liberty. If you can consider that a full game, which some people are saying it will be, then sure. The Crew Motor Fest. Yeah, there's just so many games. This is one hell of a year for games, for real. Proto, I may have to, go a little short. I don't think we're going to be going for like 4 or 5 hours. I'm sorry. I have like 2 or 3 videos I have to film today. And then, of course, back to the grind. So, a lot. CDPR seems to want us to think Phantom Liberty is going to make Cyberpunk an entirely new game. Some people are saying it is that much of an overhaul, which you'd hope it would be after 3 years of working on it. I would hope it's an overhaul, but we'll see. We'll see. God damn, ever since Luke got the review code, he hasn't been the same. Yeah, sorry. Frostbite is working on an EA soccer game. Oh, of course. Of course. So what else would they do? And I saw somebody asked, Luke, can your wife play Starfield? No. The agreement is that I'm allowed to play the game, and I've signed the NDA, so I'm the one that can play it. Sometimes, like, there's examples in the past where we've done reviews of games that have like co-op functionality, and so to test the co-op, I'll get like 2 review codes or 3, and usually for that I have to have whoever I'm playing with sign NDAs for me. So I'm under NDA with the company as the person that got the codes, and then people I'm basically working with will sign NDAs to me, and then we can play the game together. So I forget what it was. But co-op games, we've done that before. And usually you got to get the approval of whatever company before having anybody else play it with you. But the assumption is if you are signing an NDA and something gets out as a result of you, because like somebody you were playing with leaked something, then you're responsible. So you just have to be like very careful and not stupid. I mean, most of it is the thing. If your wife sees even a frame of Starfield, Todd Howard knocks down your door. Yeah. She's so enveloped in Baldur's Gate 3 right now. I don't think I think out loud a lot. So I just like will vent. And I also like when I'm writing scripts for critiques and reviews and stuff, I do like voice to text, and I will just pace. So like I'll be up in the living room and I'll just pace and be talking out my thoughts and stuff. I look like an actual crazy person, but yeah, she indulges me, but I don't think she's that interested in Starfield, frankly. What do I think of Laser's take on the AC series? I am not familiar with it, so if you could tell me what it is, I can offer my thoughts. But I don't know what it is. Is the Series S worth it? I think if you're playing on a 1080p screen or a 1440p screen, yeah, probably. More 1080p screen. If you're like 1440p to 4K, I would just go for the Series X. I know it's more money, but frankly, like, I think it just works better. I'm not seeing the Armored Core showcase. Will I be covering the Gamescom stream? When is it? When is it? Gamescom. On the 24th? Okay. 22nd. Okay. Blue Bear, they've said a few times not to expect to play it on the Steam Deck or handheld devices. So I'm not breaking any news there. They've already said that pretty clearly. And even on the like Steam page, it's not Steam Deck verified. So if it's not Steam Deck verified, don't assume that you can play it on the Steam Deck. It just is what it is. Maybe one day. I mean, we've seen other games that are not certified that get certified, so it can happen. And I unfortunately, you guys understand, but I can't speculate for obvious reasons as to whether I think Starfield could run on it, just because it's a conflict of interest at this point. In the review I can talk about it, but right now I can't. That first stream after the embargo lifts is going to be crazy. It's just going to be me sitting here answering questions about Starfield for like an hour. It's going to be funny. Oh yeah, they announced a new Xbox. I wasn't expecting them to do anything. This is one of those moments where I'm gonna be honest, I just really hate the Series X design. It's simple. I like it when it's just the like blackish gray that they have, but this thing looks like a really weird knockoff refrigerator. It just does. I'm sorry. That's why they made a joke and turned it into, are these just skins? Oh, they're just camos. It's just a wrap. It's not even a custom console. So it's not even that. It's just a wrap. It's a sticker. It's like a D brand sticker. Okay, well that's a little underwhelming. I mean, I like that they're doing something, but I think that this was already a thing with D brand, wasn't it? $50. 50 bucks. 50 buckaroos. Yeah, it's just moments like these where I see this and I'm like, man.
Zach Michaelis donated $5 through Super Chat.
Thank you, my friend.
How long will your video be on Starfield once it goes live?
At this point, Zach, I honestly have no idea. Because crazily enough, we're still like over a week away from when we actually probably film it and edit it. So full honesty, I have no idea. Reviews typically for me cap out at like 30 to 40 minutes.
Finally finished Valhalla. Excalibur is indeed the best sword in the game. Really liked the design, was worried it would be another generic ISU weapon.
Yeah. They, first of all, thank you for re-upping your membership. 2 months, baby. Ooh, love to see it. As for that, you know what? Good on you for finishing it. That is tough. It's a grind, man. It's a grind. Metal Gear Solid Collection is going to be 720p on PS5. Is that like confirmed? Is that what they said? Really? That's rough. There was the interesting video. Hold on. I wonder if I can find it. We were talking about getting this guy on stream. Hold on. Where it was something like, is DLSS ruining gaming or something? It was something like that. Yeah, this. Okay, this video from... Hold on, let me share the link in chat. This video from the one and only Vex. And his whole premise is, or his question at the core of this, is whether or not DLSS is ruining games. And I've said this a few times. I'm worried that DLSS is like, as it becomes the new normal, it will encourage studios to not prioritize performance refinements and optimizations because they can just rely on that.
Donated £5 through Super Chat.
Thank you, my friend.
Also, I know your predilection towards microtransactions, but I like being dressed as Sauron, riding a lion, wielding green and blue lightsabers
in an Assassin's Creed game. You know what? If it works for you, it works for you. My big thing is just, I don't want there to be gameplay implications, or I don't want it to affect gameplay at all. In the case of AC Valhalla, it does, unfortunately. But what are you gonna do? The nice thing is you don't have to use those skins if you don't want to. But yeah, I mean, hey, if you like riding a lion that's on fire, you can do that. For me, it's like, I'll play through the game, and then after the game, when I'm in the end game content, when the story's over and I'm not sitting through like big cutscenes, then I will go and like, I'm fine with a skin or something that's not like canonical. But when I'm playing through a main story, I like to keep it more grounded. David Clough, thank you. Thank you for the super chat as well. Okay. Luke, I also just discovered an awesome free-to-play game called Chess. Ooh. Ooh, baby. Luke, earlier I saw a video on how Unreal Engine 5 might also be ruining games, especially from the performance perspective. I'm not a game designer. I'm not a game and like a engine coder or anything. What I had explained to me was that Unreal Engine 5, like Unreal Engine 4, is built on like a system of blueprints, which are kind of like quick temporary sets of code that you can use when building out whatever. And as you get closer to launch, the best thing to do is to rewrite those blueprints with custom code to replace them that will run more efficiently. But the problem a lot of games run into is as they get closer to launch and they start doing that, they realize rewriting those is not easy. And two, it's actually quite intense and can be very, very heavy. It can even break the game in some cases. Apparently that's part of what happened with Jedi Survivor, is that they just tried to rewrite all that stuff and it just ended up causing a lot of issues. If you'd like to be a member and you're not seeing the membership link, you can just do !join in the chat and it should link you one. So all of that said, I think Unreal Engine 5 could certainly lead to some strange performance issues. That doesn't shock me at all. The biggest thing is Unreal Engine 5 is a very intense and very, like, I mean, it's a powerful engine. It can push some crazy graphics, and that's going to demand some pretty powerful hardware. And I think that's going to be the story for the next few years, is that we're going to start getting a lot of games that are very graphically impressive, but the performance requirements are going to be very high. And a lot of people that are running hardware from like 5-6 years ago on their gaming PCs are not going to be able to run stuff anywhere near where they're expecting. And that's going to be jarring, but it just comes with improvements in the tech, unfortunately. So it's just going to be what it's going to be. 3 super chats. My goodness. Brandon, have you seen that guy remaking Simpsons Hit and Run in Unreal? Yes, that's freaking awesome. I actually really, I've pondered doing videos and stuff on that. So yeah, it's super cool. Super cool to me. David Clough, Laser's biggest video is titled AC Odyssey Broke Me. Yeah, I think it's a sentiment that's common. I think a lot of people just are like, okay, the last quarter or last third of Odyssey is, I mean, it just can turn into a grind. It just can. You pretty much have to stop the main story and go and do every side quest in the game to get leveled up for the final main story stuff. And it just kills the pace of the game. It really does. If you play with the XP boost that you have to pay for, all of a sudden, strangely, there's no grind. How weird is that? But I think that grind frustrated a lot of people. But they throw the baby out with the bathwater and they say, okay, because the last quarter or the last third of the game is grindy, therefore the whole game sucks. And I'm like, no, that's a fallacy. I mean, you're focusing and fixating on this portion and you're ignoring the whole thing. You know, you're mistaking what is it? You're focusing on the trees and not the forest. Okay, like we all can point to a derpy tree, but you got to look at the forest when evaluating it. You know, Alex, thank you, my friend. Welcome. Tanner, go buy. Oh, I scroll past. Tanner, go buy yourself a pot of Citadel paint for your growing army, dude. You see this? You see this behind me? You see who this is? See this guy? He doesn't really fit in my carrying case anymore, so I had to move him. But it's the one and only. Come on. Focus, damn you. Magnus the Red. He's my precious. So he's always back here behind us watching. I have so much building and painting to do. I can't even tell you. I need to get on that. I did cop a Mutilith Vortex Beast though, and those things are sold out freaking everywhere. So that was very tough to find. Hogwarts Legacy free DLC coming 2024. I did not see that. Let's look at that in a second. I did not. I did not. Oh, baby. It's the only way. GG. Yeah, for real. For real. Okay. What watch you wear? Oh, it's just a Apple Watch Ultra because I'm a plebeian.
2 is a new Souls-like action RPG game that is actually really fun.
We can't get around that? Dude. I'm gonna die. Well, if you could call Souls-like games fun.
But sadly, it is the latest game to fall victim to this ever-growing trend. The recommended system requirements look like this: an RTX 2060 and an RX 5700, which doesn't sound like it's all that demanding until you see how you actually have to play the game.
So basically, the game defaults to extremely aggressive.
God damn it. Defaulting to performance DLSS, where it's rendering at what? What is performance? It's like 50% resolution or 60% the total resolution, then it upscales the rest. It's like, it's bad. It's a lot. It's a lot. And this is something that every new game is doing. You boot it up for the first time and all of the default settings are cramming, whether it's DLSS or FSR2, like they cram all of this stuff in here. And also, like, it's just frustrating because it allows for these devs to make games that look pretty good, but they are rendering at resolutions that were considered lackluster for the PS4 and Xbox One generation. And they're doing it to what? Achieve like slightly quarter resolution ray traced ambient occlusion and like occasional shadows and stuff. Like Jedi Survivor did all of that to be able to get like ray traced. It wasn't even full reflections. It was like shadow casting and some ambient light and like global illumination stuff. I would much rather everything just be baked in and rasterized and be able to play at a locked 60 for Jedi Survivor on console than get whatever garbage this is. But this is something that happens all too often now, and I think that this is a very valid concern.
Upscaling.
Daniel Owen did a really good coverage of this when the game launched, and he put it in RTX 2060 to see how it performed. You basically needed upscaling to get a playable frame rate.
That is an extremely stuttery experience. It should be ideally you should get a flat line.
And this is supposed to be the recommended settings for the game. Then, if you remember when the RTX 4060 launched on June 29th, just a few days before, reviewers were able to actually show the 4060 playing Cyberpunk. NVIDIA specifically asked reviewers to use DLSS, an upscaler, and to use frame generation. They had to use these...
Which, to be fair, the generational, like the frame generation stuff, is insane. It's like actual magic. It's ridiculous. It will basically just straight up like double your frames. It's insane. And I know I'm like a DLSS stan. I cannot stand FSR2. It looks like absolute hot dog water compared to DLSS, but that's just
to get performance that we actually want to see out of an RTX 4060.
Look, I know it sounds super shilly. I mean, if it wasn't for frame gen and DLSS 3, this would be hard. And I'm well aware that you guys right now are like, NVIDIA paid him.
So it kind of feels like we're cheated. We're using technologies to bypass, say, optimization or the actual performance of a graphics card just to say that we get specific frame numbers. The Last of Us Part 1 is another example. When that game launched on PC, it had huge VRAM problems. Obviously, a lot of it has been patched over time, but it still has issues to this day. And one way to get around those VRAM problems was to use an upscaler like FSR or DLSS in order to lower the VRAM usage in the game by rendering it at a lower resolution. These are just 3 examples of games that have this issue on PC, and there's plenty more examples you can find if you just want to dig a little bit deeper. This is the issue of using upscalers or other ways to bypass, say, game optimizations or to bypass the performance of a graphics card in order to get playable frame rate. And this is a...
Yeah, and my understanding is that it's really easy to put this in, like to add in FSR2 and DLSS. Like it's just something inside the firmware for the graphics cards, and so it's just kind of like a checkbox in most engines. Sirius also, thank you for becoming a member, my friend. That's tremendous. Thank you. And Alex, I think I shouted out your membership as well, but thank you. Either way, both of you. Welcome. And yes, Rocky, I see you, baby. Rocky, I see you. But I think like, because it's an easy, quick, like patch job, you can just enable DLSS or FSR2. And it's like, okay, we could only get the game running at like 45 frames if you render it natively, but we're going to add all of this stuff in. And yeah, it'll look worse, but we can at least say that it performs at 60. Like, really? Really?
Trend that we're going down at this moment. This is a completely different story than when upscalers were actually introduced. If you remember when DLSS or DLSS 2 came out in, I think, 2020, yes, you can breathe performance into an older graphics card. Say here I have an RX 5700 XT, which came out 4 years ago. You can use upscalers to extend the performance of these cards. Yes, upscalers are awesome to dig more performance out of a product that is already there. It can also give you the ability to up the resolution of your monitor. Say you were at 1080p and you wanted to upgrade to 1440p. Say you don't have the money to get a whole new graphics card that could run 1440p, breathing new life.
Yeah, I think like nobody's gonna deny that DLSS and FSR2 and those technologies are amazing. It's truly incredible what they can do, but it's a crutch, or it can very easily become a crutch for developers that are being pushed, that are being encouraged to rush a game out. It's a thing. It's a thing, and you see it all the time because you get these new games that have it enabled by default. If you try to turn it off to render natively, you're going to see some performance absolutely tank. Like I was playing a game recently, and lol, insert joke about Luke having a 4090 now. But like this computer is literally like the best thing that you could buy on the market today. It just is. Just trying to be like upfront and honest about it. Like if anything could run a game properly at native 4K, this is the computer to do it. And this game like defaulted to all of the crazy upscaling stuff, and I booted it up and I was like, I'm going to see what this thing can do just natively. And this like, it could barely get the game running above 35 to 40 frames, like maxed out. It was ridiculous. And it wasn't like the overdrive ray tracing that Cyberpunk has, you know, that I kind of understand with game like it really chugging. I get that. But for like a mainstream title to barely be able to run at native resolution on a $5,000 computer is just insane. It's just ridiculous. No, I'm not talking about Starfield. No, I'm not touching Starfield with a 10-foot pole, just to be completely clear. Anything I say, like if I'm in a review period for a game, I will not refer to it, even in these like vague generalities. I'm not going to do those things where I'm like, oh, I'm talking about Hogwarts Legacy during the review period. Yeah, I was playing this game recently where this thing happened and it was so crazy. I'm not going to do that. Okay. I just won't talk about it. I won't reference it. So when I say I was playing a game recently, I'm referring to something else, just to be clear, you know. It's just stupid. I don't know. How often member only streams? We try to do them at least once a week. Sometimes we're playing games. Sometimes it's just casual chatting. It just kind of depends. Tell us the name. I mean, one that I had a lot of problems with was, am I allowed to say? I think so. Yeah. Well, anyway, but like Baldur's Gate 3, during the review period, there were a lot of, it's at least for the first few days, there were a lot of problems. But like this is the tricky thing with Baldur's Gate 3, or with most games for review, is like the first 2-3 days you have the game, if they give it to you for like a week, there might be some performance issues and hitching and stuff. And then you'll get to it and you'll like get to day 3 of the review period and they patch it, and all of a sudden all those problems are fixed. So, but it's because all of these patches come like straight, like towards the end of the development cycle, right before launch, because why else would they rush it out? I mean, they're just going to take their time fixing stuff. So I get it. But like Callisto Protocol probably was the most insane one. Callisto Protocol If you guys don't remember that, it was really bizarre because if my memory doesn't fail me, basically like they sent the review code, I don't know, 3-4 days earlier or something like that. The first day performance was kind of rough. It just was really stuttery, shader compilation issues, that kind of thing. Day 2, they send a patch out that fixes all of that. And it like compiles all the shaders. Everything's great. Game runs tremendously. I write the review and then I film the review. We're working on it, editing it. And then like a few hours later, maybe I think it was like 10 hours before the review embargo lifted, there was another patch that went out that took away the shader compilation fix that they had sent out and made the game perform way worse now. And I booted the game up and I was like, that's really weird. Why is there another patch? Let me just make sure it runs really good. If it fixed all my performance issues, I just will cut that part out of the review. And I booted up and all of a sudden the game runs terribly, like out of nowhere. And I was like, okay, this is really weird. So in the review, I mentioned that it was running great yesterday morning. Yesterday evening, it started running like ass. I don't know why, but you'll notice a lot of like big reviewers like IGN or GameSpot, they just praise the game. Well, I don't know if they generally praise the game, but I remember a lot of reviewers and review sites talked very positively about the game because they were reviewing it based off of how the game was when the workday ended, which was pretty good. But because it's 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., they dropped this patch that accidentally broke everything. It wasn't reflected in the reviews, which is just, that thing was actually insane. That whole thing, I feel so bad. Apparently one person forgot to check a box and sent out that extra like patch. Made a big oopsie. Big oopsie. David Clough, thank you so much for becoming a member, my friend. Welcome. You are now a red flag. Welcome. Also, just so you guys know, I found it. Got to keep it close in these trying times. Okay, let's continue.
Into older graphics cards and being able to up the resolution of your monitor are just great use cases for upscaling, but it seems like nowadays the use cases have changed.
Oh, kitty cat.
It's possible that many game developers have been relying on upscaling to either bypass game optimization or to get playable frame rates on, decent tiers of hardware. Remnant 2 is basically the latest example of that, and that's why we're going to be focusing on this game. The devs themselves, we have slight confirmation, said that we've heard from a few folks about the game's overall performance. We're definitely going to roll out performance updates after the game's launch. It's another problem with games right now. For the sake of transparency, we designed the game with upscaling in mind. They intend for you to use upscaling. It's not a feature, it is core to the game. So if you leave the upscaling settings as they are, and when they boot you into the game, it defaults your upscaler to performance, which means it's rendering the game at half the internal resolution. So say you're at 1080p, you're only rendering it at 640p.
Dude. It's ridiculous. It just is. Like, again, DLSS is amazing, but hearing devs say that they're designing this with upscaling in mind, that's part of the problem. Is like you're gonna get games like maybe one day DLSS is honestly so good and these upscaling techs are so good that you straight up can't tell. Maybe it is at that point where you can render games at like 540p and upscale it all the way to 4K or 8K or whatever, and it just works and it's straight up magic. I don't even know how that's possible at 540p, but let's just say that somehow they were able to do it. At that point, okay, like I would prefer if we got to the point that rendering at 540p we are getting like overdrive, full global illumination, path tracing in every single game. That would make sense to me. But like when we did the overdrive test in Cyberpunk 2077, we had to use DLSS and we had to render it at like 720p or whatever it was, or 640p or something, and then upscale it up to like 1440p or 4K. And so the ray tracing was amazing, the lighting was incredible, but it was at the cost of everything looking a little blurry and distorted. So like it's all just a tit for tat, a trade. And so often these games are like requiring you render it at 540p and then upscale it up to 1080 or to 1440, whatever. And it's just, I would expect there to be like a reason or like again, a quid pro quo. If you're going to force the game to render this low just to get playable frame rates, I would expect it to look stunning. I would expect it to run at 120 FPS or something. But instead, it's like, no, it runs at like a standard, pretty basic level and it looks okay. You know, like it's just weird to me. It's just weird. Tyler McVickers got his Starfield access revoked. Who is that? Hold on. Was this one of the guys leaking stuff? Hold on. The passionate gamer guy. I still don't know who that is. The name sounds vaguely familiar. Has a project where he streams like he's in the 90s. Oh. Well, if he was leaking stuff and he got his stuff revoked, good. Let's see, 11 minutes ago. Twitch streamer Tyler McVicker, who has apparently had Starfield access revoked. His offense was merely sharing some positive impression of the game's first 15 hours. In his remarks, McVicker hinted that Starfield was uncharacteristically for Bethesda, a bug-free experience, like the way Xbox Game Studios head Matt Booty previously claimed. And apparently a lot of other people have started getting access revoked. I mean, I think it's good. Like, if they actually are doing that. I know there was some drama where people were claiming that there were people going on forums pretending to be reviewers and streamers they didn't like and then making up leaks and rumors and stuff to try and pretend like they were leaking it. I don't know. I don't know. He mentioned there are no bugs in his then 15 hours of gameplay. Yeah, it's just amazing. These young people, and I know I say this, I'm young too, but these like YouTubers and streamers and stuff are just like, oh, an NDA. Okay, so that's like, that's one. So it's a suggestion, is what you're saying. No, you cannot talk about it. I have no doubt in chat right now, you guys are like, oh, but is that accurate? Is that true? Like, I'm not going to tell you. I have no idea. I'm not going to say shizzle until August 31st. As everybody should be.
And when I started my game, I was playing on an RX 6800 XT, which is a fast graphics card, and it still defaulted me to FSR performance. But many of you might be thinking, what's actually wrong with using upscalers as a core feature? I mean, it's good technology. It increases the performance of your graphics card.
Because it can look like ass.
Problem?
It can look like donkey ass.
When you use upscaling, in almost every case, and I can only kind of excuse DLSS for this, some games have amazing implementations of FSR and XeSS. It isn't always the case, and a lot of times...
Notice how he skips over FSR because FSR sucks ass. FSR, I don't know what it is. It's just nowhere near as good. DLSS, like DLSS with frame generation, honestly, when I was playing like Cyberpunk, I think with DLSS set to balanced and with frame generation on, it added like 80 frames a second, and I couldn't tell. It was that good. It was that good. So it's just one of those things. Like FSR, for whatever reason, is just not very good at it.
You end up with things that don't look all that good. Now, DLSS, like I said, is kind of an exception. DLSS almost always looks amazing. The other problem with using upscalers is at 1080p, that problem compounds. When you have a lower native resolution you want to output the game to, there's less pixels for the upscalers to work with, so you end up with a worse image overall. So if you're playing at 1080p and you still need to upscale in the game, it looks significantly worse in the grand scheme of things. Where did this all go wrong? I think there's basically two avenues of why games have been trending in this way, and you guys can feel free to say in the comments if you have any other ideas. For one, new techniques of rendering games and upping the visual quality of games is just outpacing at the rate that GPU or graphics card power is increasing generation on generation. Proof for this.
I mean, maybe, but like some games I think can absolutely do this, and some games are graphically that much crazier than like what hardware can keep up with. But other games like Remnant, I like Remnant. I played it. We did the like early access checkout, look at it thing that we did. I thought it was really good, but I don't consider it to be like graphically one of the top games of the year. I think like the graphics are serviceable and get the job done, but I wouldn't say that it like stands out to me as truly shocking or amazing in any which way, in my humble opinion. The claim that do devs care, I mean, maybe to me it's more just like being rushed out. I've heard mixed things and mixed numbers. Some people say like you can spend 6 months to a year just polishing a AAA game. Like apparently Tears of the Kingdom was done like a year before it launched, and they just spent a year polishing. So like, and that makes sense because it's basically running on a toaster. But I mean, I get it. They want to spend a year polishing. And a year is millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars for these companies. And so they'd rather just be like, okay, well, we could spend a year, get it running natively at 60, or we could just have it render at like 540p and then upscale it and make it hit 60. Like they're just being given the option. This is one thing I honestly don't know that I would be very, very interested in finding out. I would just love to know where in the hierarchy of a company these decisions get made. Like does, like, let's just say for a game like Jedi Survivor, does the CEO of EA, Andrew Wilson or whatever, does he go to the executives at Respawn and say, listen, we need to get this out now, sooner rather than later. We don't want to rush it. And any more time we take on it is just going to decrease the profits. Like, why would the devs care? Why wouldn't they just say, too bad, we need another 6 months. Too bad, we need another year to polish. To me, it makes me think maybe the executives within the studios that actually get to make these decisions and decide, yeah, okay, we'll just get the game out now because we can implement these other techniques to get performance where we need it to be, like upscaling and blah, blah, blah. Makes me think that maybe those executives, the studio heads, they get bonused out based on profitability of the projects, based on saving money in the budget, you know, getting the product out on time. Because why else would these studios consistently be doing this? To me, it just seems like there's some sort of, again, quid pro quo where somebody gets a little kickback for getting the game out quickly, even if it doesn't run as well as it should. You know, because the executives, I mean, let's be honest, somebody like Jim Ryan, I don't think understands FSR2. Like, he has no idea. He's just like, can you get the game out fast enough that we can turn a profit and it runs well enough that people won't complain too much? Like, that's all he's really concerned with. So those big wigs and people in suits, I don't think care that much. Stefan, also, thank you for your super chat. There are two Lukes inside any one of us. One throws shade at Bethesda and Todd at every turn. The other keeps it professional when it comes to preview codes. Yeah, exactly. Well, the reason we make fun of Todd and God Howard, peace be upon him, is because it's really, really freaking funny. So that's the main reason. But yeah, at the end of the day, if they're going to entrust me with a review code, we take it seriously, because why wouldn't we? Nerdridge, thank you for the super chat as well. Can you explain polishing? What does that mean? Is it like minor bugs that they fix, or polishing like visually updating it? So like if you watch the Raising Kratos documentary on the creation of God of War 2018, it's really interesting because they'll describe, there's a portion in the documentary where they show how they go about the process, and they show like, okay, here is a list of I think they mentioned like they have a spreadsheet. So like they have an Excel spreadsheet or an app online, like a Google Doc or something, where they have all of the bugs that have been found in the game. And at one point in development, it was at like 1,100. for God of War 2018. So they're like, okay, 1,100 bugs. And what they do is they rank them in terms of severity. So if it causes like the game to hard crash, that's a severe bug. If it causes the game to soft lock, like that game or the glitch I had in Jedi Survivor, where I got to the bottom of that ramp and you have to get on this mount, this animal to, or I guess alien, to be able to hop on, and then it allows you to climb out through the slippery slope. That animal didn't spawn for me. So I just spent 10 minutes running in circles down there thinking I was missing something, when in reality, the thing I needed to get out was just not, it didn't spawn. So that would also be considered like maybe a 4 out of 5 in severity instead of a 5 out of 5. Because like you can reload, you're still fine. It doesn't cause the game to hard crash, but it's still a big issue. And then there's other things like maybe a character like during a conversation, they're like you enter dialogue and they just face the wrong way. That's not severe. That's like a 1 out of 5. That's, we'll get to it if we can, but that's not very severe because it's not going to break the game. It's not that big of a deal. So there's like levels of severity for these bugs. And of course they start with the most severe and try to work their way down. And all devs will say like, oh, we're sure that there's bugs and issues in the game we just haven't found yet. And that's part of the reason why having millions of players jump on your game can help you find those bugs real quickly, which is like Lex, the CEO and studio director and game director of Baldur's Gate 3. He said, yeah, we're sure that there's going to be a lot of stuff people find in Baldur's Gate 3 that people are going to come across, and we're going to see that. We're going to see that. So we just hope that you communicate to us and get it to us as quickly as we can, you know. No, Omar did this last week as well. Omar, I'm sorry. I don't like wasting time with crap. So we're just going to go on a timeout. And if you do it again, we're going to ban you. Because last week he was pretending like we had audio issues. So anyway, it's just, there's a whole process to it. And sometimes fixing bugs are as simple as, oh, we put 2 null objects instead of just 1. And so the character or the model is trying to base its positioning in the scene based off of 2 null objects. And so it just is kind of bouncing between the 2 and it's glitching out. We just delete the 1, tie the movement to the correct one, and boom, problem solved. Super easy. Super easy. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Other times it's like, oh my God, we totally ignored this huge problem in the code for the movement that we finished like 4 years ago during the prototype phase. We have to rewrite that. Oh my God. And it's like a much, much bigger issue. Like apparently the whole thing with Baldur's Gate 3 running on the Series S right now is that the game has been built for a certain amount of RAM and the Series S just frankly doesn't have enough. So they can't get split screen running properly in it. So they're spending a bunch of time trying to like recode stuff and tweak stuff. So yeah, it's fascinating. It's fascinating because there's just so many potential little things that it could be. It's just frankly amazing, honestly, that any game gets released at all nowadays because they're all so complicated. So yeah. Imagine finally playing Starfield and then not being allowed to talk to anybody about it. Oh, the life of a reviewer. Or, I mean, you could be like Tyler or whatever his name is and still just talk to people about it. Just still do it anyways. It's a, what was the name of that guy that like was caught going and like he had the 2 Twitter accounts. One was his personal one and he was like a game reviewer, and the other was like Gaming Insider. And then one day he tweeted from one and forgot to change the profile over and got caught. Who was that? I don't remember his name, but yeah, that's like a thing that people have been caught doing. Like for some reason, these people will like work their butts off, get in a position where they're in the industry they love and they're passionate about. They get early access to games, they get review codes, and then they like will throw it all away and destroy their career in the industry because they wanted some quick Twitter clout. What? Like, how does that make any damn sense at all? It just doesn't. It's so dumb. Dan Allen, okay, yeah, Dan Allen. Is he still around? Is he still doing stuff? You know, I'm willing to like give people a second chance. I think everybody should get a second chance. But that was like, bro, that's kind of a big deal. That's kind of a big deal. That's just a little bit. Janata, thank you for the $4.99. I think anyone interested in how games are made needs to watch Psych Odyssey, the docuseries about Psychonauts 2. Changes how you look at the industry. Absolutely. Absolutely. Go also read, if you're more of a reader, also read Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, and what is the other Jason Schreier book? One of you will put it in chat. Both of his books are really good and kind of outline some of the inner workings of some of the biggest games you've ever heard of. Like he even gives a deep dive into the creation of like Stardew Valley and stuff. It's just really fascinating. Really, really fascinating. He still does videos, but he killed his channel. Yeah, it's just tough. But like we've seen even now, there's apparently people going around onto like 4chan and subreddits and pretending to be like big streamers, leaking stuff about some of these games to try and get that streamer canceled. It's like deep fakes, but with like made up leaks for games. It's really weird. It's really, really weird. And frankly, big dumb. It's big dumb. Let's see. Oh, you guys said that there was also, hold on. It is very tempting with high profile releases to sidestep some rules, kind of like it is happening with Starfield occasionally. It just doesn't make sense. Like the little bitty stuff where people will like, I don't know, people will do this thing where they like, well, it's like that tweet where somebody says, oh man, I didn't even notice the controversy because I've been playing so much of Starfield. Oh, lol, you guys suck, and this is not a controversy because the game, oh man, when you play the game, it's going to be the one that you played. And it just doesn't make any sense. It's like, bro, just shut up. Nobody cares. Like, wait till the embargo lifts, and then you can do it. I really like your insights, and I'm hoping you'll get a key from Mirage. By the way, if you do, will you let us know? Yes, I will. I sure will. Unless, of course, there's like NDA stuff where they say you can't disclose it, but I have a feeling, based on other stuff I've done with Ubisoft, that they aren't going to have a problem with me sharing stuff. So it's going to be interesting. Me and Joraptor both covering Mirage. It's going to be really interesting because Joraptor I think has more direct connections than I do, and so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really, really cool to be able to like cover this game kind of in tandem with him. I'm really excited for it. Oh yeah, there's a YouTuber who always tries to pass modded GTA 5 as GTA 6 leaks. I've seen. Okay. We should be back. Let me know if you guys see me back. Let me know. We should be back. Okay. Okay. There we go. I don't know. OBS has been doing that sometimes. It just randomly like drops to 200 kilobytes instead of 9,000. I have no idea. Anyway. Yeah, this was just funny. I Googled the Armored Core 6 gameplay thing, and that popped up, and I just thought that was funny. Where is it? Gameplay preview 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks. Where's the one from like yesterday? You said there was one yesterday. Was it just PvP? I don't want to see somebody's thoughts on it. I want to just see the gameplay. Is there seriously not like an official uploaded? Event recap. Huh. Armored Core 6 gameplay showcase. It's weird though that it's not just like popping up. These are 3 days ago. Okay. This one looks right. Okay, so they're just gonna let people play it and then we watch them play it. Full res. So there's a PvP mode. Okay. Like, I know that this might just be baffling to some people who are especially into this kind of game. But like, just full honesty, like I'm just being real with you. I look at this and it doesn't like really excite me. And I know that sounds insane to people that are really into this. But I know there's no sound right now. Yeah, I just kept it off. But like, I'm just gonna be real. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you and pretend like, wow, this looks so amazing. Like, to me, this just doesn't get any dopamine going in my brain. And maybe that's because I'm really stilted or something. This is a boss fight I think we've seen before, though, to be fair. To be completely fair. But I can understand how if you're really into mech stuff, if you're really into Armored Core, that this could be exactly what you're looking for. And you see this and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. In the same way that I might look at something like, I don't, what would be a comparison? I mean, maybe even Mirage or like a gameplay trailer or something for Phantom Liberty. And I get all giddy and excited, but for other people, they're like, I'm good. Doesn't do anything for me. I'm good. Where's the mechs? You know, for some people that it's just not clicking. And frankly, so far, Armored Core just hasn't really clicked for me. And it's not to say it's bad. I'm sure it's going to be really, really good, especially for people that like these kinds of games, but it just doesn't really click with me. And I don't know why, but it might be something that changes. I mean, initially Ghost of Tsushima did not click with me at all. And then after they launched the 60 FPS patch on it, PS5, and I played it, I fell in love with that game. So who knows? Maybe in 6 months, I'm going to be like, oh my God, what was I thinking? This is amazing. I really don't know, but oh baby. Getting paid to go fly out and play these games and do this, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm just gonna be real with you guys. They will throw some serious cash at you for these events. Like whatever number you're thinking, within reason, is probably not as much as what you can get paid doing those events. It's crazy. Especially if you're one of the top like 5 creators covering a game, man. Yeah, Fighting Cowboy is the guy Rory has podcast with. I remember hearing Fighting Cowboy like years ago. I think he went on the Ham Radio podcast with Mr. Maddie, and maybe they were talking about Fallout 4. It was like a long time ago when I heard his name for the first time. 100 million, yeah. Yeah, no, Proto, I absolutely agree. Like getting your hands on something like that is going to be the key. And the mech customization I think is going to be crucial. Let's see. My theory on why we haven't seen Bloodborne 2 yet. From Software has been dropping big games since 2015. I think they're literally too busy to get that done for Sony. Well, more than anything, I think it's just Hidetaka Miyazaki. He gets to do whatever he wants. It is his kingdom, and nobody's going to tell him what to do because he keeps dropping bangers. So if he doesn't want to do Bloodborne, he ain't going to do Bloodborne. You're not going to change his mind. You know? And good on him. I mean, he's in the position everybody wants to be in. So yeah. Oh, so this is how that wrap works. I was thinking it was like D-brand. No, it's just like a straight up. Is it like a magnet or is it a sticky thing? It's just literally a wrap, like a book cover. Weird. I don't know, man. It's not for me. Maybe some people would love it. I make your console overheat more. Nah, this wouldn't affect temperatures at all. It's not blocking any ventilation or anything. I mean, it wouldn't do anything for heat. But I just like, plus the Series X actually is really good about heat dissipation. This thing, when it gets going, I mean, it's like a space heater. It can just get the heat out real quick. Both the PS5 and the Series X are really good about it. The Series S actually also is very good at getting rid of heat quickly. That thing also gets toasty. What's wrong with it? What's the price? It's $50. $50. Again, like, it's just not for me. But then again, I also don't get so into games very often that I am on this level. You know? Personally. Anything on Project Q? I don't think so. I don't think they've announced anything yet. Maybe at the Gamescom event tomorrow we'll hear something. Maybe. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. That'd be great. Oh yeah, I guess we could touch on this real quick, just because I want to be fair, or as fair as we can, because we talked about this last week. The stream clip on it blew up for some reason. I don't know why people like listening to me ramble about this stuff, but you do. I'll take it. But just full transparency, to give them the chance, we were going to cover Linus's side of the story last week, when we talked about the whole Linus Tech Tips situation. We ran out of time because we had a podcast scheduled, which obviously I couldn't just move and be like, sorry, Joel Raptor, sit down, sir. Like, I want to respect his time. So we just ran out of time to discuss it on that stream. Which maybe was a good thing, because apparently his initial apology was pretty bad. Like, it wasn't even an apology. It was like in response to the claims, and it was just pretty bad. They made a bunch of jokes about, like, having sponsored segments. They kept calling out lttstore.com and stuff like that. Just tonally, it was really, really weird. And it felt like, no, guys, people are upset because you basically like stole a prototype from this company and screwed up the review and refused to fix it. And you said that you didn't feel bad about it or regret it because it would have cost a few $100s of somebody's time to fix it or do it properly. It just felt really, really tone deaf. Exactly, Alex. It just didn't sit right. And then after that, the allegations from Madison, who also, her like nickname is Soup, if you don't know her. We talked about her allegations of a very dysfunctional workplace. She broke down how she was made to feel a fool, how she was micromanaged, but then also not managed at all, how there was a lot of language used that was just not professional at all. People in upper leadership telling her to put on her big girl pants and figure it out if she couldn't do something as a new employee. Just insane stuff like that. That's just like, come on, guys. You should be running a more professional operation than that. And she eventually got to the point, as she described in her post, or her series of tweets, that she got to the point where, because the load of work was so insane, and anytime you took any time off for any reason, you were chastised and interrogated for it. Like, what were you doing? Where were you? You know, we have so much stuff to put out. We have 25 plus videos a week to put out. We have to get it out. Where were you? She like cut her leg intentionally to try and have a valid excuse not to have to go in and deal with all that, just to get a break, which, like, as some people said, I saw some people in the comments that are like, oh, so we're going to take her comments seriously because, you know, but she's clearly unstable because she cut her leg open. Who does that? Like, we all agree cutting your leg open to avoid going to work is like, you're pretty far down the rabbit hole if you go to that extent to get out of going into anywhere, frankly. But that's kind of the point. Like, if that job pushed her to the point where that's the length she was willing to go to avoid dealing with this toxic work environment, that's a problem. That's part of it. It's part of the problem. So, and it sounds like she's doing much better. It sounds like she moved, she got another job, she's much happier and in a much better spot now, which is great to hear. But obviously these are serious allegations of workplace harassment, of a toxic work environment. All of the employees openly discuss how the workload is too heavy. They can't focus on quality. It's just a common thing. And they did respond to it basically exactly how I was hoping they would. When we talked about this on stream, I said, they need to take it seriously. They probably need to cease production on videos while they figure this stuff out, give their employees a break. And then they also need to hire a third-party investigatory firm to come in and see whether or not these allegations are accurate. And the way these firms do it, at least how I learned it in business school, is the firms will basically come in and just like a detective, they will separate everybody and then ask them stories and ask them very pointed questions contrasting with other people's accounts to see whether or not they hold up. So they'll go to the editor one and say, listen, did you ever, were you present when Madison was describing her frustrations with her workload? And they're like, yes, I was. And this is what she told me they had told her. And then they compare that to what editor two said. And they go down the list to create the story based on what everybody is saying. And then they can see whether or not there's an actual toxic culture there once people are allowed to ask or to speak anonymously without fear of repercussion or anything. And from there, they can look at email chains, they can look at internal communications and figure out pretty quickly if something really, really toxic is going on. It's the same thing that Ubisoft had to do when they were in the middle of all the Me Too stuff. And those investigations led to people getting fired or moved and demoted and all sorts of stuff. So it can work. It can have a real effect. And it seems that that's what they're doing. What they said was, quote, "We are taking Madison's allegations seriously. We are conducting an internal assessment alongside bringing in a third-party investigator to look into the allegations." Perfect. Internal investigation and a third party. Love it. "We are committed to publishing the findings and implementing any corrective actions that may arise due to this." Publishing the full findings is also key. A lot of firms will do the investigation and then be like, we didn't find any concerning stuff. And then when they're asked for the reports from that investigatory firm, they don't share them. And you're like, if you didn't find anything, why didn't you share it? Seems weird, but they're promising to share it. That's good. Thank you for your patience, and please allow us the time necessary to be as thorough as possible in this investigation. In addition to our existing report systems, both anonymous and otherwise, we've proactively reached out internally today to encourage our team members to report any workplace bullying or harassment they might have experienced or they might be experiencing, so we can take quick, decisive actions or action. These allegations do not align with our company's ethics or the values we preach internally. We aim to provide an exclusive work environment where everybody can feel comfortable and, more importantly, safe. They said everything, but, actions speak louder than words. For me, this is all serious. What it strikes me as, I'm going to be real. I worked in a commercial brokerage firm with some very hardcore people, pretty hardcore people. There was a time where a guy showed up to a meeting late and got yelled at, full voice by one of our bosses, basically screamed at 8:30 in the morning because he walked in at 8:29, set his bag down on his desk, came back down the stairs, and walked in the room. And it was 8:31, and because he was late for the meeting, he got screamed at. Very toxic. The guy was trying to keep his composure, but you can tell he was like, bro, do you want to go outside? You're 60 years old. I'll kick your ass. Who talks to me like that? This is insane. This is how you start your day? How messed up is your life that you come into work at 8:30 in the morning that pissed off? Okay. And all sorts of other stuff that, maybe I talk about in members only streams, but very just frat house type of behavior, just super toxic, super bad, but everybody puts up with it because they're making really good money. So, and it creates this thing where it's well, if you don't like it, then you're just not meant for this. So you just can't keep up with it. Too bad. You know, it was just toxic. So I've worked in environments that I would deem probably toxic. And in some career paths, it's unfortunately just a fact of the matter and a reality for those. But what this whole thing going on with Linus Tech Tips screams to me is that it's more likely that this is just like a group of friends that are working on stuff, that josh each other, that kid around, that are very sarcastic, that are like even mean, and they're just not used to having to perform and act very professionally. And they got called out for it here with Madison, and now they're facing the consequence for it. And this is like, it's like the whole thing where she's like, yeah, and I would get told to put on my big girl pants and figure it out. In a professional setting, that is unacceptable. You don't talk that way to somebody. You just don't. But like when like I went to that bachelor party, and because we're nerds, we played D&D, and it was a great time. Wonderful. But like in that context, it's a bunch of guys who have known each other since college, and we're all hanging out, having a good time, and like we're joshing and joking with each other, like, oh my god, dude, you're such an idiot. And like being like, if you wrote it down and you looked at it on paper, you'd be like, oh wow, this person's being a jerk to this other guy. But in the context of who we are, how we know each other, like when one of my friends says, oh Luke, that was one of the stupidest things I've ever heard you say, like, yeah, it's funny. It's funny and it works and it's fair, you know? But in the context of a work environment, you shouldn't be acting that way. You shouldn't be behaving that way. That's why they say usually don't like hire your friends, don't hire your family, because it's very hard to be super professional when you have those personal relationships with people. Because a lot of the time there's overlap where two like bros might be joking with each other and being like, oh dude, that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. You made this email, you made this memo, like, wow, you are dumb. Like, you know, you'd be joking or saying something like that. And then somebody else who's not familiar with the frat culture, with the bros, comes in and sits in on this, and it's like, wow, he's being like really mean to that person. And sometimes then they'll turn and they'll start trying to kid in the same way or josh in the same way with that new person from the outside of that little dynamic, and it doesn't work. It doesn't. And it turns everything into a really toxic environment where the person that's being toxic doesn't even realize they're being toxic. They just think that they're being funny. And we all know these types of people who like they're toxic, but they don't realize it at all. And it's just because they've never been like challenged on it. And this is one of those things where I think that they're used to just telling people like, yeah, there's a lot of videos to get produced, but I don't know, figure it out. Suck it up, buttercup. You know, figure it out. You're a smart boy. And they're just not used to being called out for it. So it's unfortunate that this crap is going down, because everybody would like, when you look at YouTube videos from creators you like, you always like, you just see the end product. You don't see the process that goes into it. Like Jacob, my editor, works his ass off, and when we have like quick turnaround times for videos, he will stay up till like 3 a.m. to get the video out, which, you know, I compensate him quite well, and we try to you know, he's basically on call for those things, so he understands that there's going to be days where he needs to stay up super late to get it. Yeah, hey yo Jacob, and he works his ass off on it, and he does great work. But I think some people are just under the impression that no, it's just kind of like you play games and then you like talk about games on stream, and it's just like, it's super chill. Yeah, exactly. I'm toxic. I'm part of the problem. But like, if I didn't know Jacob, and let's just say I hired somebody totally out of the blue, just somebody I find on Indeed or something, I wouldn't be able to expect them to hold to that same standard, you know? Kazuma, thank you. Welcome to the red flags. Welcome. Glad to have you, my friend. But like, if I hired an editor off of Indeed or off of wherever, and I expected them to stay up till 3 a.m. randomly, seemingly, for game reviews and editing stuff, and then to wake up a few hours later to handle any edits and stuff we have to make last minute. Like, that would be pretty toxic. And I'd have to go in and do all sorts of extra paperwork to be like, listen, you're on call on these days, and I'll disclose which days, 3 full business days beforehand so that you can align your schedule. So some days you are going to have to stay up super late, and we'll try to disclose that. And then you also have to sign these NDAs and all this. And so it would just filter through. But that's because if you want to do that, you have to be very, very professional with it. But because Jacob and I know each other very well, then we just get in these spots where for us it's not that big of a deal because it's just what we do. But once you add extra people into the mix, you can't do things the same way. That's why I've been telling Jacob, like, if we ever got to the point where we got a studio space and we had like an editor's den and we hired another editor to do other stuff for the various channels and everything, realistically, like, we would have to start working 9 to 5. And maybe some days for like a huge mega release of something, we could do like an all-nighter and we just disclose it well in advance. But like, we just have to be very, very professional about it, you know, because it's just what you have to do. Casanova Creed, I would do that because I love gaming and YouTube. Well, and I think that's why like a lot of people do it. And work in those kinds of unhealthy ways. Full transparency, like, I've probably the way I work on YouTube and work on this stuff is probably not the healthiest thing. Healthiest balance would maybe be a 9 to 5, 4 to 5 days a week. And then after that, I put it down and I go do something else. That's probably the healthiest way to do it. But instead, like right now, we're crunching for the Starfield review and for all of the other stuff we're working on. And so I'll be working till like 11. I'll take a break from like 6 to 8 p.m. so I can help Nikki with the kids and get them down and read Lockie's bedtime stories and stuff. And so I'll do all of that, but I'm still like pretty much every moment of free time I've had to spend working on that stuff. So it's just different. But once you grow, once you have employees, once you have other people who rely on you, you have to get more professional. And I think that's what Linus has kind of forgotten, is that he still wants to run it like he ran the company when they were operating out of that house. I don't remember where it was, but they had like a house that they ran out of and it was super fun. But it was like a total bro kind of situation. It was all just a bunch of guys that were friends running this little business together. Plus you have to find time to feed Jacob in his dungeon. Exactly. Yeah, Jacob's the Giga Chad, the back end Giga Chad. Do we need to make a shirt for Jacob that's just back end Giga Chad? That sounds super sexual, but I find that funny. I like that. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Jamie, I think we will, just because you know, there's gonna be some cool trailers, I think. Can you disclose how many unreleased games you have currently? I don't think so, because some of them say you can share that you have access to them, and others you're not allowed to disclose that you have access to them, even though I'm not saying what they are. It's just a gray area, so I will politely decline. Oh, we could also do a Valaha. Yeah, we could do that. I'm surprised we haven't done that yet. That's a good idea. A Valaha shirt.
Assassin's Creed Valaha.
Oh, man. Oh, dude, there's so many. It's so funny to me. People just say stuff on Twitter and they just... I'm not even going to show what I'm looking at, but I have something on my screen that somebody mentioned. And somebody on Twitter just asserting something. And it's not true. It is false, but I cannot... Man. Anyway. Anyway, where are we at? Where are we at? What else do we have? Lords of the Fallen. Did they ever fix Diablo 4 or is it still terrible? Just like super broken. Probably still super broken, let's just be completely honest. Luke, what are your thoughts about naming your channel or company after yourself rather than some generic company? Does that impact growth as a company? Honestly, calling my channel Luke Stevens was just like, I was like, I don't know, I'll just stand behind what I'm saying. It's just me. Like if I always wanted people to come to my content for me, not because of like what I was talking about, but because it was me talking about it. Like anybody can cover news stuff. Anybody can cover like, oh, did you see this breaking news on this terrible RDR port to Switch? Anybody can do that. And if you have a well-produced video and you're the first one to put it out, the video will do very well. It will be seen by a lot of people. But I never wanted to just do that. I wanted people to come to my reviews because they wanted to hear my thoughts on something. I wanted people to come to my videos because they wanted to hear what I had to say. And so I could do just like a generic gaming thing where we just pump out generic stuff really, really easily. But I just don't think it worked for me. You know, I would much rather like have it be me. The only reason I watch Linus is because sometimes he does good content. I mean, talking something relevant like the underperforming 4070 Ti against the normal 4070. Yeah, he does good stuff, I think. Generally, but I just think for me, their content's gotten really generic. Like their content has just become much more about volume over quantity. And so hopefully they fix that. Let's see. Rocky asked me to look at this. Witcher 3 fan-made Lego reimagining catches developers' eye. A fan's impressive reimagining of The Witcher 3 renders Geralt and Ciri as Lego minifigures and catches the eye of the game's developer. Dude. Okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'll give him that. That's pretty good. Now I really want a Lego Witcher game. Wow. The the subject matter is not great for a children's toy. So it's probably not great for like a Lego movie. Maybe. But I mean that's pretty good. I like it. It's weird that her leg is popping out though. Was this actually rendered by somebody or was this like AI? Or is that supposed to be kneeling? Oh, it's supposed to be kneeling. Okay. It's just weird how it looks. That's pretty good. Definitely AI. If it's just AI, it's definitely been adjusted and tweaked. Because I don't know how you could even have something like Mid-Journey produce stuff this fine-tuned. So I would imagine it's probably a mixture, but I don't know. That is true. It's not like Batman is super kid-friendly. That's true. Even Pirates of the Caribbean. Did they ever do Lord of the Rings stuff with Lego? Like The Hobbit? Did they ever do that? I feel like they did it like something with The Hobbit. But I don't know. Okay, I just need to stop looking at I just need to stop looking at Twitter on this stuff because it's so dumb. Okay. Lego The Hobbit was never finished. Yep, they were so good, both. Unicorn Riding. Gandalf was in the Lego movie. Oh, was he? Also, I saw you seeing the Vex video. I'm guessing you're in contact with him. Not like we haven't set anything up, but I like I said, I very much like the thesis, or I agree with the thesis of the video for sure. Yeah, I don't know how some of these creators are still doing like Starfield videos while having review codes. Like, I just don't know how you do that. Seems like such a huge conflict of interest. I don't know. Main channel video dropping tomorrow. Sure is. What are your thoughts on Xbox saying they're going to start listening to people's voice in chats? I think it's crazy. I've expressed my opinion on this stuff before, and I understand it's not a popular opinion, and it makes me seem like very much in favor of Big Brother, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But just like, to be honest, I have nothing to hide. If somebody like, if Discord or Xbox Live Chat or whatever wants to use AI to scan and transcribe what I'm saying to make sure I'm not saying anything horribly offensive, okay. Like, I'm not disclosing my social security number over Xbox Live. Like, who gives a crap? Like, if you're really concerned with privacy, then like go somewhere where it's more private. But frankly, like, it's their right, I think, to be able to scan that and to make sure their platform is not a toxic cesspool. And so I just frankly am not like, I'm just not that worried about it, frankly. Like, I don't have anything to hide. I'm like, whatever. But I understand that some people are like, no, it's an invasion of privacy. And yeah, but all of life is trading like features or content or comforts for your privacy. Like, that's all life is at the end of the day. Like, you want to use a cell phone? Awesome. You just traded away most of your privacy. Like, your smartphone will just casually tell you, oh, you went to this restaurant 5.5 years ago. What did you think of this latest visit? And you're like, I don't even remember coming here 5 years ago, but I guess I did. Like, they know everything. So if you use a smartphone, I think you're way like, anyway. So are you okay with Xbox determining what is offensive for their platform? Yes. I mean, that's the whole point. Like, yeah, PlayStation gets to decide what's offensive on their platform, as does Xbox, as does Apple, as does Google Drive. Like, Google Drive, didn't they recently like make a major arrest in like a child sexual abuse material ring because people were uploading those pictures and videos to Google Drive, and Google Drive obviously deemed that as unacceptable on their platform. They scanned it with AI, realized it was there, and then they submitted it to law enforcement. Those people are now going away probably forever, as they should. But it's because those companies determined that that was inappropriate on their platform. And, you know, they could scream, but what about my freedom of speech? It's like, okay, for one, that only stands when it comes to government intervention. Private companies are allowed to do whatever the hell they want. If you go into a business and you start screaming the N-word, they have the right to kick you out. It's not you being like, oh, I'm a freedom of speech. Like, no, you're being an asshole. That's what that is. You know, it's just frankly not that complicated. It's pretty straightforward. So for people that are like upset about, oh no, Xbox isn't going to allow me to say like the N-word when I'm playing with friends and stuff. It's like, yeah, I think that's good. I'll be able to enjoy playing those games online now. Like, because I won't have to deal with you. You know, like, there are some games where I straight up can't play them on stream with voice chat and stuff because it's so toxic, because people come in and just try to like do that because they think it's funny. Like, it's insane. So I think it's fine. You're taking away my right to be a dick. Not even a right. Like, because again, once you're using a private service, it's not a matter of rights anymore. It's a privilege. Like, it's not your right to go on YouTube and publish whatever you want. It just isn't. If YouTube doesn't want to host something you're saying, they have the ability to remove what you're saying. It just is what it is. Love it or hate it. You can go to another platform like a Rumble or something and post videos there, which allow you to say whatever you want without any intervention. But the reason why YouTube is the king is because YouTube does moderate and people prefer it. YouTube's big thing, like, it used to allow whatever you want, but most of it was because they just didn't have the means to moderate this stuff. They just couldn't keep up with it even if they wanted to. And now they have the ability with a lot of automated tools to keep track of all this, but you know, kids, before the internet, we had to game with strangers in person at an arcade. Those arcades had cameras and audio. It's their arcade. Xbox Chat is their product. Yeah, it's just whenever somebody gets like really pissed about not being like, I think it says a lot. If you hear that, oh, Xbox Live Chat is going to like transcribe what you're saying, and if you say offensive things, they'll like ban you. If that freaks you out, and if you're the type of person that is like throwing a big fit over this, like that just makes me think that you might be doing something in those chats that's maybe not great, you know? Like, I just my stance on all of this is like, it's the company's right to do whatever they want. It's not your right to be a prick. And if the company doesn't want to tolerate whatever you're doing, yeah, that's what they get to do. And just in the same way, you don't have to tolerate their product. If you're pissed off at Xbox for moderating chats and stuff, it's a free market, baby. You can go somewhere else. You can play somewhere else. You can go build a gaming PC. You can get yourself an Ouya or something. But you'll find most of the major platforms have these moderation tools already in place because that's what players tend to prefer. Players tend to play on online lobbies where they're not being screamed at with like the N-word at the top of their lungs. They just generally prefer not to deal with that. And so if you have a community or if you have a platform where that doesn't happen, people are more likely to go there. Gotta disagree. Constitution applies to corporations as well. That includes the First and Fourth Amendment, sir. I guess if we're being pedantic, then we can be pedantic. The First Amendment applies to the government's ability to intervene and restrict your free speech. Corporations can still not allow you to work on their platform and do stuff on their platform if they don't want to. Like, if that's what you think it is, I encourage you to like to like look stuff up, because like you're wrong. But if you just mean like the government can't force the corporation to not say stuff, like that's true. But no, a corporation has the ability to not let you say something on their platform if they don't want you to. Like, this is not controversial. Like, this is pretty dumb basic. It's not that complicated, dude. Xbox is an American company. Okay, do we really need to MS Paint this? Are we really gonna do this? Dumb. Okay, so I'm okay. Let me be fair. I'm not calling you dumb. Okay, that was me trying to be funny. This might just be an honest misunderstanding, and that's why I will MS Paint it to try and be as fair as possible, because it might just be an honest misunderstanding, in which case we all have like honest mistakes. Okay, the government, we're gonna make them blood red. Big brother, the gov. Okay, the First Amendment in the US, all it says is that gov cannot go down to the little plebeians down here and restrict what they say. So like if this person down here is saying like, oh, I think that the president is actually a Nazi, the government can't just throw him in jail. They can't. Like you can't imprison political dissidents. You can't imprison people or arrest people for saying something that's politically incorrect. The government cannot step in and punish you for those reasons. Again, this is like federal law. And as far as the US is concerned, federal law, the gov, the Fed, I should probably specify. The Fed is separate from state governments. State governments can do all sorts of stuff. Like the state has a lot more freedoms to do weird stuff. Like there was a whole thing where you guys remember Making a Murderer, that whole documentary where Brendan Dassey and Stephen Avery, they were convicted of murder. A lot of people don't think they did it. They tried to get Obama back in the day when the documentary dropped in like 2015. They tried to get Obama to overthrow the murder conviction. Obama, as the president of the United States, cannot do that because he's the head of the federal government and murder is a state offense. So the president can't even overstep like the state litigation, but all this is kind of beside the point. In some cases, corporations, if we do that in blue, are like these big bubbles, like Citizens United, which was a case here in the States, that deemed that in some cases, corporations could be considered individuals for purposes of like political speech and things like that, meaning that the federal government cannot step in and prevent a corporation from stating like a political opinion or something. Which, say what you will of that, that's just, it is what the law is. And so for you to be like the federal or the First Amendment means that I can go in as an individual into this corporation's platform, say whatever the crap I want and do whatever the crap I want, and they can't stop me. No, this is completely separate from the Fed. This is its own bubble. The Fed isn't intervening. The Fed can't intervene. So if this little bubble of corporate whatever wants to kick you out because you're being toxic, they can do that. There's no question. There's no problem. Now, there's the only potential issue is if you were talking about discrimination. So like there's been a lot of like Supreme Court lawsuits where like in Colorado here where I live, there was a bakery that didn't want to serve a wedding cake to a gay couple and that was getting married. And so the gay couple sued the bakery and was like, this is discrimination because you're only not selling it to me because of an immutable characteristic, because I am gay and because I'm trying to marry somebody, you're discriminating against me. In the same way, like if I walked in or if somebody walked in and was black and you decided not to sell to me because I'm black, that would be totally unacceptable. That would be discrimination. You hopping into an Xbox Live chat and like screaming the N-word is not an immutable characteristic. Like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. That's not something that is constitutionally defended, okay? Like that don't work, okay? That don't work. If you have Tourette's, yeah, maybe you could say if you have like clear doctor's notices and things, and if you were like, hey, I tried to go to Disney World and they kicked me off of Space Mountain because I kept uncontrollably screaming obscenities, but it's not my fault, I have Tourette's. You could, I mean, honestly, you could probably sue them and you could probably get some settlement or something. I wouldn't be shocked if that's a thing, I guess. But all of this to say, like, there are, I think the bakery won the case initially, but then it went to appeal, and the Supreme Court recently did something. If it wasn't with that case, it was with another one. Yeah, 7 months ago. Colorado baker loses appeal over refusal to make gender transition cake. Okay, so this was one slightly related. Colorado Appeals Court rejects Jack Phillips's constitutional arguments. He was also the subject of a 2018 Supreme Court ruling. Colorado baker, who had won a narrow U.S. Supreme Court victory over his refusal to make a wedding cake for a gay couple on Thursday, lost his appeal in a separate case. Okay, so this guy, everybody's going to this baker trying to get him to bake cakes for like a gender transition for a gay wedding, and he's refusing all of it. He lost his appeal ruling in a separate case that he violated the state's anti-discrimination law by not making a cake to celebrate a gender transition. Colorado Court of Appeals agreed with trial judge Masterpiece Cake Shop and the bakery's owner, Jack Phillips, violated Autumn Scardina's rights by denying her service because her identity as a transgender woman. Again, remember what I said about state versus federal? State laws, it's a different animal, okay? It's a different animal. So all of this to say, no, you don't have a right to be a dick in Xbox Live Chat. If they want to kick you out or ban your account, they can do it. The law is not on your side. If you think it is, I encourage you, try to start a lawsuit. We will cover it in detail, and it will be so freaking funny. But the law is not on your side. So, good try. I don't know what the hell that was. I think he stopped commenting pretty quickly after that. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. In the US, there's this common misconception that like the First Amendment allows you to just do whatever. And that's not what it is. And let me be clear, like there's a difference between what the law is and what you would like the law to be. So like that was an explanation of what the law is. The law clearly allows for Xbox to do this. That like there's no question. It is settled. Which is why companies like Sony, Apple, Google, all these companies already do this stuff. You email something in Google, their bots are scanning it, making sure it doesn't include any stuff that would flag it for any number of reasons. Okay, this is like settled. Doesn't mean you have to like it, but it just is what it is. Like, if you want to change it, go to a lawmaker and try to like have them pass a law in the Senate or something. You can do that. But if we're just talking about what is or isn't allowed, it's very much allowed. Yeah, in terms of service are binding, even if you don't read them, they outline what you can and can't say. You agree to it, follow the rules, and now they can just enforce it better. Exactly. Like, it's just so amazing to me when people like are using services and then are surprised when they break terms of service and are punished for it. It's like, yeah, dude, like it's pretty straightforward. I don't know. Oh, Arno, I can see that. I don't know if this was me humiliating. I don't want to humiliate anybody. That's why I walked back my dumb thing. I said I was trying to be funny, so I walked that back. Because often it is just an honest misunderstanding. Sometimes it is just that somebody has never like had the breakdown of or like seen the breakdown of how these individual laws work. I happen to, because I have a lot of lawyers in my family who talk about this stuff a lot and I'm interested in it. So I poke their brains constantly. So like sometimes it is just an honest misunderstanding, and I want to be fair with that. When somebody like stays in chat and keeps trying to insist they're right, even when they're being presented the evidence that they're wrong, that's when I think you are either being like either somebody's trolling, in which case I think I'm allowed to kind of poke fun, or they're being intentionally obtuse, or they're trying, like they're not interested in what's actually true or what's actually the case. In which case I think it's also fair to kind of poke fun. So that's at least my opinion on it. But I can understand if it seems like I'm being a little harder core. But like, as I would typically just say, like, if you still disagree with what I just outlined, whenever we talk about this stuff, I would encourage you, like if you have a refutation or something, I want to be right. I don't want to be wrong. So if I'm wrong on this, break it down. And like help me understand how and why. But if all it's going to be is like, well, no, because America, my freedom, like I need a little bit more than that, you know? It's like a scientific law, troll the troll. Yeah. Why do schools simply not force you to learn laws? It's like elective for college, right? I mean, there's like I helped with AP government and stuff in high school and stuff, but people have to take government, but you can forget it pretty easily. Like, what can you tell me what you learned in like your junior high or your in high school, your junior year, what you learned in like your history class? Like I don't know if I'd be able to break down everything we went through. Well, I get the collector's edition of Baldur's Gate. I think it's all sold out, isn't it? I think it's all sold out. Did I see the Starfield title screen controversy? Yeah, I guess we can touch on this. We kind of bounced around it a little bit, but I guess I didn't address it clearly. So it's been like confirmed at this point, which is the only reason I would talk about it. Pete Hines. It's been like confirmed at this point that, where is it? Let me find the original tweet. Was it just... Did he delete the tweet? Did he delete the tweet? Maybe he did. Hold on. Let me just take the screen off in case there's like a spoiler or something. I don't want anybody to get something spoiled. Hold on. He definitely responded to it. Maybe he deleted the tweet. Oh, it was a reply. That's why I wasn't seeing it. Okay. So this whole thing is just, I didn't want to address it, but then Pete Hines, who's a head honcho at Bethesda Softworks, he came out and addressed it. So at this point, I think it's fair to address it. Full disclosure, I am reviewing Starfield, so I'm actively playing the game. I'm not going to refer to anything. I'm not going to reference anything that I've seen or not seen for obvious reasons. I'm under NDA. But as for this specific claim, this came from Grums, who's like a well-known, very accomplished game developer, actually. If you don't know who Grums is, he's the former team lead for OG World of Warcraft, producer on Diablo 2, StarCraft. Like, this guy is a very well-known and accomplished game developer. And he posted a tweet that got some people little confused. What he said was, the physiognomy of start screens. The start screen of a game can reveal a lot about how rushed the team was and how much pride they took in their work. Now, again, this was like started as a leak, but then Pete Hines, again, like replied to it. So I consider it to be fair game at this point. Starfield start screen either shows hasty shipping deadlines by a passionate team overworked or a team that didn't care. No. Those are not the mutually exclusive options, because the other option is that maybe they just liked this starting screen and they figured it's a freaking starting screen. Who gives a crap? Like, it doesn't have to be that crazy. Start screens are often done at the very end of development. Teams are too busy making the core game. It's quite common for the start screen to completely change once the game is shipping or on patch 0. Teams that take pride want to put a good face forward and will often redo these just prior to a game going live. Now, Jossam replied or tried to get Pete Hines involved. Pete Hines, if you're not familiar with him, he is also one of the head honchos. He's the head of publishing at Bethesda Softworks. He used to work just within Bethesda Game Studios, I believe, but he's climbed the corporate ladder over the last handful of years, and you've seen him in pretty much every single Bethesda showcase, like for the last 10 years. He's been everywhere. And he just replied, or they designed what they wanted, and that's just been the menu for years and was one of the first things we settled on. Having an opinion is one thing. Questioning out a developer's care because you would have done it different is highly, highly unprofessional coming from another quote-unquote dev. Oh, baby. Now, let me be clear. I think Grums was this was a little bit of rage baiting. Let's just be honest. That's a lot of what this was. Like I said, Twitter now pays out based on impressions. So you can make decent money by just rage baiting and getting engagement and views on your tweets. So that's why I didn't really want to cover it or discuss it initially, just because there's like a lot of crap involved with it. But I don't think it is like a controversial or crazy thing to say that a game is not defined by its start screen. It just isn't. It just isn't. I understand maybe you would have made one that's a little bit more flashy or epic, but it's not defined by its start screen. Nobody thinks it is. It's ridiculous to say it is. But you know, maybe this whole thing was just trying to rage bait and he got what he was looking for. So yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is just a sword in the grass with some wind. Yeah. Look at Skyrim. Yeah, Skyrim has a super simplistic start screen. GTA 5, super basic, as is the start screen for like Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, they're all very, very basic.
Mr. Mo is now a red flag.
Yeah,
Hey,
baby.
Luke, hope the fam's well.
Very.
Thank you for recommending Baldur's Gate. Never liked the top-down type of games, but I love D&D and am addicted to BG3.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm also addicted to it, and I freaking love it. And you know, Nikki is just like just cruising through the game at this point. She's just rocking and rolling. I'm obviously like, I've got my hands pretty full with other projects right now, but I'm very much excited to return to Baldur's Gate 3 once I get through that. Yeah, The Last of Us is a boat. And then once you finish it, it's a beach. Yeah. Will I be reviewing Baldur's Gate 3 on PS5? I will probably do like an I tried or something on it. I was originally like, I did not expect at all to get a review code for Starfield, so I was planning on rushing through the production process for a critique on Baldur's Gate 3. But now I don't really have time. So, yeah. Mia went, Nikki stream when? I don't know, man. I've been asking her, I've been pushing her. She's gonna do it when she's feeling good and ready. I'm hoping she does it soon because I think it'd be super fun. I think it'd be super, super fun. But yeah, we'll just see when she's feeling it. Just finished it yesterday, and oh man, it's just a masterpiece. I'm starting my second run. First time that I replay a game. Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's so good. Do you consider reviewing Steam Deck? Asks Gaben. I do have a Steam Deck. I will be honest, I don't think I've turned it on once since I got the ROG Ally. Very sorry if that hurts anybody's feelings, but the ROG Ally just frankly runs it all better. Just does. Yeah, I can't comment on the reviewer that was trying to share his impressions. I can't comment on it other than saying that apparently he got his review code revoked for doing that. So I'm not going to say what my experience has been at all. You'll have to wait till the embargo lifts for me to say it. Very sorry. Does your Hogwarts Legacy critique have story spoilers? I'm almost done with the story. I put 60 hours into it so far. Yeah, I go through like the whole thing. Sure do. Have I ever thought about doing Let's Plays or walkthroughs? We've done, like, you've probably seen them. We've done like super cuts of me playing games. So when I've done like a stream where we play a game for 2-3 hours, I'll have Jacob cut it down to an hour or two. And it's just a super cut of us trying the game. And we've had some good fun with that. But the videos have never really done super well. So I just don't think the market's really there for full walkthroughs or run-throughs. But maybe one day. Has anyone finally tricked Luke to spill the beans? Oh, man. Oh, that's funny. Can you say what will happen from a legal point of view to him? I have no idea if Bethesda has a history or Xbox has a history of going after them, but like Rockstar has gone after people and sued the living crap out of people for leaking stuff. And they can get like
Austin Riley is
millions
now
of
a red
dollars.
flag.
Austin, 4 months, baby. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, like we're talking tens of millions of dollars can be slapped at you in terms of fines for screwing something like that up. So it's a big oopsie. You can't be doing this kind of thing. You can't be doing it.
Iron_will07 donated $9.99.
Thank you, my friend. Very
through
generous.
Super Chat. If a review released early, would you believe it? You don't have to comment on what it said, but it seems too early since codes just went out last week.
If a review went out early, so you mean like if hypothetically a review dropped, like somebody accidentally published their review like today instead of on the 31st? I mean, I would question the motives of somebody that does that. Personally, I would. Frankly, I would not trust that because of a handful of reasons, but I would not trust that. And I don't know specifically what's being referred to, but yeah, I'm trying to toe a fine line where I don't get myself in trouble for saying things I can't say. But yeah, I don't know if I would trust that. Like whenever a company sends out review codes within a certain time frame, if somebody just like totally bypasses that time frame, you have to wonder, for one, why, and two, like did they actually like finish the game, and like did they actually do what needed to be done? So yeah, Konami Metal Gear Solid Collection only 720p, PS4, PS5. Do we have a trailer or something for that? MGS Master Collection. Oh, it's gonna read that for me here in just a second.
Christian Owusu is now a red flag. Have you seen the new Wukong gameplay, also AC6 multiplayer? Or are you mentally checked out on AC6?
Christian, I mean, I can totally see why people are getting stoked on Metal Gear or on on Armored Core. I totally get why. For me personally, I think it's gonna have to wait till I play it. Once I get my hands on the controller and I actually get a feel for it, I'm hoping then it clicks with me. But right now I look at it, I'm like, okay, yeah, looks cool. But it doesn't hook me in the same way that I might look at like the trailer for the new Spider-Man and be like, oh, I can't wait to try that. You know, it just isn't hooking me in the same way. But other games that I've ended up loving have had the same thing. Like Ghost of Tsushima, I didn't initially click with, and then one day I tried it again and it clicked. So I wouldn't say I'm checked out. I'm just like, it just doesn't really excite me that much. It's weird. Have I gotten a code for Armored Core? I have not, but then again, I have not tried to get one. So that's probably part of it. that's probably a good part of it, just being completely honest. And I don't think I've published a single video on the main channel about it. So like normally how a lot of these companies will find who they're going to send review codes to is they'll just Google the name of the game or look it up on YouTube and just see the top creators that are making a lot of stuff on it and then send codes to them. That's as far as I can tell, that's how it usually works. So I don't think that they have any reason to. Okay, yeah, IGN got to see the Metal Gear Solid Collection. This is the one, is this the same thing that dropped, was it Summer Games Fest, where it was the trailer of him peeking out through the water in the swamp? Is that the same thing? There's just some weird pop. I wonder if that was a like surge or something. Is that the same thing? Or is this just the straight? Oh, that's the remake. You're right. This is the collection. Okay. Let's see. Rocky, are you referring to this thing with it on Switch? Is this what you're referring to? Do I read collect comics? I have some. I have the new 52 behind me right there. So I have some, but I'm not like an active collection or anything. Why aren't you on Twitch? We just, I mean, for our production process and pipeline, streaming on YouTube made a lot of sense. And I like it that you can like go back and watch the VOD immediately and stuff like that. And so yeah, it's a whole thing. But it does look like we're going to start doing a once a week stream on Twitch, like on Tuesdays. All of the YouTube stuff will stay the same, but on Tuesdays we'll just stream on Twitch in addition. So that way if people like it. AV1 encoding was a big piece of it too, but the AV1 encoding allows us to get 4K 60 that looks primo, but it adds like a 15 to 20 second delay, which kind of ruins it, frankly. Galaxy Llama, thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The
Galaxy Llama is now a red flag.
Hold on. Let me get this, Rocky. Galaxy Llama. Love to see it. Hold on, chat is so far behind. Come on. Come on. Oh yeah, everybody like the stream. Otherwise Rocky will attack me. The Reddit post that started it all. Metal Gear Solid. Okay, Volume 1. Okay, launch on PS4. I don't know. Where does it specify that it's running at 720p? The collection also houses the HD versions, last seen in the Metal Gear Solid HD collection. Okay. I'm not sure. Let's see, Shadow Not Drive Studios and the remasters. The most recent one was Quake 2, 4K 60 if your set is capable of 120 FPS. Reworked AI lighting, textures cleaner. Okay, also got multiplayer. What is sad though are instances like Rockstar and Red Dead basically relaunching 13-year-old game with as little effort put in as any launch time for 60, which goes on best-selling games on PSN. Okay, so is there just no... I don't know if there's any clear... It's not clear if this is like confirmed or not.
Volume 1 clearly wants to be the definitive collection that every Metal Gear fan is.
Okay, Proto, it was debunked. Okay. Either way, I think it should be revoked, frankly. And the dude's going to get blacklisted for doing that. So either way, I think he's kind of screwed. But who knows? Maybe that fake story will cause it to become real. Who knows?
Is going to want. And well, so far so good based on what I've played.
Commencing virtuous mission now.
What Konami...
That's some Kojima dialogue right there. Oh man, one of the craziest groups of people in all of gaming is like Kojima stans. Like they're crazy. They're absolutely crazy. Let's see, the first previews for the Metal Gear Solid Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 are in, and it appears that at least one, or at least one, some of the, okay, maybe on some platforms, the games run at 720p, not 1080p, and certainly not 4K. According to a preview from Nintendo Life, this is in part because the ports of Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 in the collection are based on the HD versions from back in 2012. In fact, the preview notes that the game's title screens will say HD edition, and a 2012 copyright watermark is still visible. The version of the first Metal Gear Solid is apparently a straightforward port of the PlayStation version, resolution, aspect ratio, frame rate, and all. A preview from IGN notes that the port also includes a bunch of extra goodies like separately released VR missions and Metal Gear Solid Integral. Well, I mean, the original, who cares if it's not rendering full resolution, but like the fact that these are still running in the same, and the fact that it still has the 2012 copyright thing on it is just so delicious. Like, they're not even hiding it. It's like, hey, guys, this seems like you just took the thing you did in 2012 and then are reselling it now. It really seems like it. They're like, nuh-uh. Copyright 2012. Like, it's just insane. Wow. Wow. Is Kojima overrated? In some areas, I think. I think he's a phenomenal game designer and a very gifted artist, obviously. I don't think there's any denying that. I think he's a god-awful writer, though. I think he's somebody that needs an editor to like slap him upside the head and be like, we don't want a 45-minute cutscene of somebody rambling about stuff that nobody has any idea what you're talking about. Like, this whole scene is just to tell Sam, go to the dock and collect this delivery. And make sure to watch out for the time fall, because it ages you. That's all you need to communicate. Spend 60 seconds, spend 2 minutes. I don't care. To spend like 30 minutes rambly pacing and being like, oh, and when the time fall came, my nipples got hard. And I don't know why. The grass is green today. The rocks are wet. Anyway. It's just like, bro, stop it. Stop it. Yeah, Death Stranding, I think, was the worst offender because Death Stranding was just Kojima with no holds barred. Like, it was just Kojima being Kojima, and it's insane. Like, he has a character in there called, like, Die Hard Man. Okay, are you seriously gonna, like, try to tell me? Or, like, the lady that runs a delivery company that cares for packages very gently. It's fragile. It's just like once you start like explaining it, it's just you realize how insane it is. But man, yeah, and it's supposed to be like this big meta thing where it's like, oh, Die Hard Man. It's because when he dies, it's hard. And it's like, whoa, dude, you blew my brain. That's so meta. That's so bad. You know what it reminds me of? It's like in Family Guy when Brian Griffin is sitting down at the table. He's like, okay, time to write a bestseller. He sits down. He's like, okay. He's writing a letter to himself about something. Okay, yeah, that works. And his name is going to be Norm Hull. Because he's just a normal guy. But that's not for these people to understand. That's just for the scholars 100 years from now. Like that's Kojima's writing is he's like, and then we're going to call him Die Hard Man. But they'll get that in centuries when they're analyzing this with Shakespeare and stuff. Do you understand Konami to some degree for their attitude towards Kojima? Is Kojima too much of a risk or a money sink? I have no idea. I mean, honestly, like, even if you're a fan of Kojima, I think you have to acknowledge Kojima's probably a hard person to work with, I would imagine. Even if you're like a big fan of his, he seems like a crazy egomaniacal narcissist. And that's coming from a YouTuber, okay? If anybody would know egocentric narcissists, it would be me, a YouTuber. So, like, I'm sure he's tough to work with. Still, the way they handled it was toxic as hell and totally unacceptable for a corporation in the modern day. It was insane how they handled it. They acted like a petulant child throwing a fit. It was amazing. Anyway. Yeah, I did see that thing, Rob, about the Wonder Woman thing. Honestly, it just looked like a picture of Wonder Woman. If you told me that it was like... If you told me it was like a freaking AI generated thing, I would have been like, yeah, sure. It doesn't really tell me anything. Logan, I'm not sure. Hold on. When was it? I'm scrolling. No, Logan, I do not see anything here. So if you did, just let me know what your message was so I can respond to it. I'm not sure what happened, but no, I don't see it. And no, Taylor, I've not. I was actually going to try that later today. Did Grandma Sue eat her Wheaties today? Of course. Grandma ate her Wheaties. Yes. Naturally. She got to stay up on them. I know people rag on Kojima a lot, and I think it's somewhat deserved, but that first trilogy is honestly perfect. Like I said, I think he's a very talented game designer. He just seems to me like somebody that needs a editor to like calm him down. Like he needs to just go crazy, and then he needs somebody to pull him back. And then once you've hit that balance, it's great. But with him just doing whatever he wants, I think it's just chaotic. Let's see. Good luck with the queues. Oh, there's a lot of people trying to get in. That's probably a good problem to have. Yeah, we'll cover Gamescom live tomorrow. I'm down for that. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Let's see. Same with the MCU, Kevin Feige. Or Feig. I don't know how to pronounce it. Feige. I don't know. He needs an editor. Yeah, it's so often there's really creative types that just will create this like ocean of ideas. It just pours out of them. But they do need somebody to just pull them back in a little bit. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Some of the best writers in history have had that. Some of like even the most prolific and like successful writers and creative minds of the last century have had that. There's a whole joke about George Lucas when he created Star Wars. He created this amazing universe that was extremely successful. But apparently, and I don't know this for a fact, I've just heard the theories about it. Apparently his wife was like super involved in the editorial process and in helping him come up with like the meta themes and the overarching plots and the character arcs and all this stuff. She was very, very important to his writing process. And so when they split, we got the prequels and you see just how that turned out. And it's like, did somebody else write this? This doesn't even feel the same way, but it's because previously they were working together and now working alone. He can't do it. So yeah, his wife saved the movie. Yeah, I've heard all the theories about it. I don't know if there's a documentary or something somebody's done, but Rango, I have not booted it up. I was kind of swarmed this weekend, but I'd be down to try it once the servers are fixed. Yeah, Dum Dum, that's my understanding too. They're doing they're trying to be clear with it, which I appreciate. They're not pretending like they're about to announce a ton of crazy stuff, but just updates to stuff we've already seen, which I think is fair. Jar Jar was the child that was adopted out of spite. Oh yeah. Have you ever seen Johnny Harris's videos? I don't think so. That doesn't ring a bell. Oh, that was weird. OBS, the bottom bar just like flashed green. That was weird. Never seen that before. Maybe I'm having a stroke. Is that what's happening? Heard similar rumors about Kevin Hart and his wife. Not sure if true. Could just be internet lies. I don't know. It does always make me wonder. It does always make me wonder, like, you know, there's a writer that does really great work and then all of a sudden they start doing really bad work and you're like, what happened? Or like a musician, same thing. Like 4 great albums and then just a trash album. Like, what happened? Like, did they swap producers? Did they like go through some messy breakup that just broke their brain? Like, I've always been really, really fascinated by that. Johnny Harris, I'll check. Oh, they stopped doing drugs? Oh, maybe. Honestly, with a lot of those like old school like musicians, I think a lot of that is actually probably like true. I mean, like the old like Ozzy Osbourne music, which is just insane. And then you see him now and he's unfortunately just kind of a shell of his former self. It's honestly kind of sad. Eminem music kind of took a nosedive when he stopped doing drugs. Yeah, but like it was so weird because you would hear him. It was like, know what I'm saying? He must have been high as a kite during this interview. That even Weird Al did a whole joke about it. Where's the original interview? Not the Weird Al one, but the one that the Weird Al video was based on. I don't know. It was this interview. And the whole time, like, Eminem is just like going off and off and on and on and on about how, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Every sentence ends in that. And it was like insufferable to listen to. And so Weird Al even made a video kind of dogging on him, pretending that that was all part of it. But you would not think listening to this interview that this guy was like a lyrical savant, but he was. Like some of the stuff Eminem would put into his songs just lyrically were incredible. But then he got clean and it's like, it's just not the same. I don't know. I do like Recovery. Was that the album from like 2010? Yeah, Recovery. I do like Recovery. I thought that one was okay. The Marshall Mathers LP was fine. Everything after that I've just kind of checked out of. But some of that old school stuff like the Eminem Show. Kamikaze I thought had a couple of tracks that were okay. Kamikaze's, I don't know. A lot of Kamikaze I felt was just like, it's a mixed bag. It was a mixed bag, but. Logan, there we go. Thank you for the 5. Lol. Did you see where Eminem said he was embarrassed to be white? I did not see that. That was funny. That's funny. Oh, wait. What was the album he did? Oh, crap. What was the song from it? There was one song from it that was...
Logan Levesque donated $5 through Super Chat. Lol, did you see where Eminem said he was embarrassed to be white?
Eminem. Oh, crap. Do I just need to pull up title and see if I can find it? Damn it. What was that album? He split the album with another guy, you know? Oh, crap. Eminem. Does title not even have it? Are you kidding me? Yeah, with Royce to 5'9". Yeah. Bad Meets Evil. That's it. Dude, thank you so much. Bad Meets Evil. That was going to drive me crazy. I was like, why can I not freaking remember this? Yeah, I guess they don't have it on title. That's why I couldn't find it. But Bad Meets Evil I thought was great. There's a lot of good tracks in that one. Yeah. If we were on Twitch, I could play these. Yeah, this is the album art I was looking for. I did like this album. I don't think this like popped off or was particularly successful, but it was right in that like crossover period where like stuff was starting to kind of fall apart and it wasn't the same as it used to be, but it was still good. I don't know. I said it first, I am hip hop. Yeah. It is on title. Did I just miss it? I don't know. Bad Meets Evil. I see the original. I see the original song on the LP, but I don't see the album. Anyway, I'll find it later. Anyway. Yeah, it was a passion project for them. You can tell. I mean, it just hits different. Anyway, I don't know how we got on that. Riz just explained it perfectly in an interview. M is older now. He's had all the success. He doesn't rap for anyone but himself now. He does what he likes. It's not to please anyone else. Yeah. And I like his I like a lot of his a lot of the stuff that he's like produced. I don't like his freestyles anywhere near as much as I used to. Like he did a couple of those freestyles back like 5-6 years ago where he's trying to like take on political topics, and it just didn't work.
Daniel Carroll donated $19.99 through Super Chat.
Daniel, Jesus.
Hey Luke, love your content and deep dives. You seem to have a level head, and I appreciate your skepticism. Keep it up. I owe you more than $19.99.
Well, I disagree, my friend. That's incredibly generous. Thank you so much. That's very, very kind of you. You did not have to do that, but yes, thank you, my friend. Oh, chat's behind. There we go. Okay, well, it's gonna catch up slowly. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Guys, Luke is talking about Royce to 5'9" to entertain us on stream while he has Starfield. Please like the stream. Yeah, for real. I just finished Inscription. It was great. I recommend it to anyone who likes card games much more than card game, though. Yeah, Inscription's actually pretty good. His stuff with D12. Yeah, the Trump one was kind of crazy. Yeah, it was just him standing in like a parking garage, if I remember right. And he's just like standing there with like the big hoodie, oversized hoodie. He's like, and then everybody behind him is doing it too. And they actually made fun of it in South Park with like that whole kind of arc where Cartman kept rapping randomly throughout the season. And I thought that one was pretty good. Like that, I thought it was better than Eminem's thing. Crazy that there's an official Armored Core Series X, but Starfield only gets a wrap. Is there an official Armored Core one? Or are you baiting me? Or are you baiting me? I think you're baiting me, because I don't see anything about a custom Xbox Series X. Or are you talking about the custom thing that they're... Hold on. This might be what you're referring to. This thing? It's like, I think there's only one.
Will07 donated $4.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you, my
A
friend.
review of Starfield apparently released early, and Game Bible wrote an article on it if you'd like to check it out off stream.
Oh, okay. Game Bible. I don't recognize that. Yeah, I won't check it out on stream, but yeah, I'll check it out off stream. I don't know. That's interesting. Frank, no, I'm not going to say that. Anyway, no, apparently you can't buy it. It looks like it's just a giveaway. Folks behind the game to create a sleek looking Series X. We're loving the subtle look to this one. Unfortunately, unlike 2021's Halo system, you can't go out and buy this one in stores. Yep, the Armored Core console is another sweepstakes prize. So yeah, they have it, but you can't buy it. It's only a giveaway. So they only made one. They hired a guy to do a custom wrap. So, yeah, they baited you. They got you. They got you. And then everybody replies with the hashtag. I don't know, man. It's fine. Wait, does it say game is not part of the sweepstakes? You don't even get the game with it, dude. Oh. Wow. Huh. Okay, maybe a bundle, like standard Series X bundle? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, but man, it would be so funny if you win the sweepstakes for a custom Armored Core 6 game or custom Armored Core 6 console and it doesn't come with the game. That'd be so funny. How do I feel about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game that got teased? I'm looking forward to seeing more. I wasn't really raised on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. My parents thought they were obnoxious, so we weren't allowed to watch it. So I don't have a lot of like bias towards it. I'm just interested in it. We'll see what it looks like as we get closer. We see more. Free plus $60. Yeah. It's like one time we had a White Elephant game for Christmas, and we had a bunch of friends over, and everybody brought their White Elephant gifts, which if you don't know what White Elephant is, everybody brings a gift, it's wrapped, and then you go around the circle kind of randomly drawing them, and then you can steal a present from somebody else or unwrap a new one, and you go around the circle. I got gifted a beta fish. My gift in that white elephant was responsibility. I had to go out and buy a fish tank, like a filter, the pebbles and stuff. Like, this girl, Allie, gifted me the responsibility of paying another like $120 for this. It was ridiculous. It was like the most hardcore white elephant gift I'd ever seen. To this day, I still can't believe that she pulled it off. But yeah, it was like wrapped. It was in the little container. It was drawn all over it. Keep upright, keep upright. And then I remember she brought it over to me and handed it to me. And I was like, should I shake it? She's like, no. I'm like, what is possibly going to be in this box? I'll shake it to see if I can hear it. No, don't shake it. Open it up. It's a freaking fish. Yeah, it's a reverse present. It's exactly. It's amazing. Exactly. Do I have a P.O. box? I'm going to send you a Bible. I do have a P.O. box, actually. I do actually have a P.O. box. Very few people know it, but yes, I do have a P.O. box. I can put it in chat. It's in the middle of nowhere because I figured going to a small post office in the middle of nowhere would probably avoid a lot of trouble and drama or things getting lost. It sort of does. I don't know. I get out and visit it like once a week or 2 weeks. Send him fishes. I swear to God. If I show up and there's just a bunch of dead fish in the P.O. box, I'm going to be mad. The devs for the last Ronin game said they took inspiration from the new God of War, so I think it could be good. Yeah, no, I'm excited. Sending fish. Curious on your kind of funny stance regarding the fallout with Colin Moriarty. Oh, okay. I don't really watch kind of funny. I wouldn't be able to tell you the last time. Well, actually I could. It was their interview with Todd Howard. That's the last time I ever saw anything they did. Before that, I don't think I'd ever watched anything they did. I thought them throwing him out of the group for what was transparently a joke during International Women's Day. I thought it was a joke. You don't have to find it funny. You don't have to like laugh at it. But it was far from like an egregiously offensive joke. Like, it was quite tame. And they threw him out so quickly. It was baffling. And so I thought it was just like super toxic. I personally consider Greg Miller to be like on lolcow levels. Everything he does I find extremely cringy, and it's probably tied up in that original thing he did at the Game Awards when he got trending gamer and gave that long speech that Krabby Cat clipped and made fun of him for, which I thought was brilliant. I just can't stand anything he says or does. He is like a walking cringe to me. But that's just me. That's just me personally. What was the joke? It was International Women's Day, and I think what he said was, I mean, I guess I can just look it up. Because if I get it wrong...
Daniel Carroll donated $4.99 through Super Chat. Curious on your kind of funny stance regarding the fallout with Colin Moriarty and Greg, Tim, Nick.
This is what he tweeted that got him canceled. His company basically forced him to quit. And people lost their minds. So what he said was, peace and quiet. Hashtag a day without a woman. That was... This they wanted to cancel him for. You might get a slap on the wrist from Aaron, but you get a thumbs up from me. Funny face. She's actually in bed right next to me and thinks my blatantly obvious joke is funny because not all people are humorless sacks of shit. Yeah, I think that's probably how you could define most of those kind of funny guys. It says a lot about you, what you do with your friends, the moment that they become like, they might be an inconvenience or they might be difficult to be around for one reason or another. And the fact that all of them abandoned him instantaneously because they thought that it was just too risque. It's just insane. So, yeah, that's it. That's what got him canceled from Kind of Funny. That's the whole thing. Yeah, that's the whole thing. So whenever I see the Kind of Funny guys still have a platform, I'm a little baffled that their audience is not more pissed about that and just has given up and like rolled over on it. But then again, if their audience is the kind of audience that like supports canceling somebody for a joke like that, then I don't know what to even say. Like, no love lost, I suppose. If I remember correctly, Nick was the only one to defend him. Yeah, I don't know who made the call or what it was. I don't know. Colin's doing much better than all of them as far as I can tell now, but they're extremely woke, which is really disappointing. In 2020, they said that if you're a Republican, stop watching us, stop following us, and a bunch of people stopped watching. Oh, really? It's why like people will ask, isn't Colin Moriarty in Fallout 3 or nah? I don't actually know. He might be. That would be cool. They all crapped on Baldur's Gate 3's combat because it was basically too hard. That's freaking hilarious. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just we pulled up their channels one day and I was just kind of surprised that they have so many like corporate affiliations. Like their channel is not huge. This is kind of funny. I think they have another platform as well. So like what's their other channels? Because like you know, I'm looking at this and I feel like I'm missing something. Like I feel like I'm missing something. Like how do they have production levels on this scale with pretty lackluster engagement and views? Like, is it all just... Is it Patreon? Is that how they do it? They have a big Patreon? I don't know. They don't say how many people are subscribed to it. I just feel like I'm missing something. Like, do they have a big wealthy donor backing them or something? Kind of Funny Games. What is their official one? What's their official main channel? Big time sponsors. To me, it seems like it's corporate connections. Like, I think that they probably still have ties to a lot of the IGN contacts they all had. So they know who to talk to get the review codes, to get the access at events. Because at E3, these guys are always on the show floor. They always get the special access to stuff. It's just amazing. But yeah, what's their official channel? I just Googled, or I looked up Kind of Funny. Kind of Funny Games, and then Kind of Funny. Kind of Funny Games is smaller than Kind of Funny. I have no idea. Okay, so Kind of Funny is their main channel. Kind of Funny Games is their small channel. Audio isn't playing for some reason.
Want to believe me? Don't cross Greg Miller, because God and or Satan will step in to avenge me. So how does it feel, Jeff Jarrett, to nearly break my neck and then have your game delayed at the 11th hour? And guess what? The Check the Kind of Funny for the launch stream still clears. Don't fuck with Greg Miller, everyone. I don't know how many times this needs to be explained on the goddamn internet.
I think that was a joke. Methinks, maybe, perhaps. Oh my god, I'm so petty. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm gonna be real. I just don't understand. And I feel like I'm missing something because I don't know how on earth they still have like a big platform. But you watch him, like he tweeted out recently. He's like, oh yeah, I just got featured. He was like allowed to announce something at a WWE event or something like that, which that you some of you guys said, oh, it looks like he's doing WWE stuff. I can't talk. Apparently he's like big into WWE. I don't like, to me, he's on the same level as like DSP.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've said it several
like
times.
I just don't understand how anybody could watch him and be like, oh yes, that's insightful. And to be fair, I'm sure a lot of people say the same thing about me. I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh my god, it's the hype makes you stupid guy. Oh, it's the skepticism guy. Oh, shut up, dude. I'm sure people say that with me. More power to you. I think that's great. If I say something stupid, you get to make fun of me. That's fine. That's fine. But this guy is like trying to cancel people. He throws his friends to the curb instantaneously once they make like a dad joke that he doesn't like. It makes me wonder if it was all just like a power grab. They wanted to get him out of the company so they could have a bigger cut of it. I don't know. And then like the political thing saying, if you're right leaning or if you're a Republican, stop watching me instantaneously. We don't want you here. It's like, shocker. A lot of their audience said, okay, and left. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if you're covering video games, why would you get into it? It's the same thing. Like, people ask me my opinion on politics, and I'll talk about it during members only streams because it's more niche. And if you guys really want to hear it and you're financially supporting me, I think that's fair. But in a big public stream like this, like, who cares what I think about politics? Who cares what I think about religion or whatever? Like, if it's about gaming and it's like a pastor saying you shouldn't be allowed to play Pokemon because it's satanic, we'll cover that because that's really freaking dumb. But like, if you want to know my thoughts on the Kalam cosmological argument for God's existence, I'm not going to go into that because I'm a freaking gaming YouTuber. You don't need to hear my thoughts on it, okay? If you really care, ask me in a members only stream. But like, who cares? Like, I'm just glad you guys are here talking with me about video games. We're having a good time. That's all it really needs to be. That's all it really needs to be. Yeah, save the theology for members only streams. Exactly. Oh man, didn't they get an interview with Phil Spencer? Yeah, and with Todd Howard and like big industry people. Todd isn't going and doing interviews with GameSpot or IGN as far as I can tell. He's doing interviews with these guys. How does that make any sense? Man. Yeah, Luke Stevens hides politics behind a paywall. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Luke. That's so refreshing. I just like, who on earth cares what a gaming personality has to say about religion or politics? Like, nobody should care. It's the same thing with like the frickin' G4 reboot that like totally imploded. The death of G4. Top 10 moments. Okay, now I'm interested.
Is coming back.
Welcome back to G4 TV.
Welcome back.
Bear in mind, these guys had millions of dollars behind them.
Hello again, everyone. We are back, and so is Attack of the Show.
But I actually want to talk about something so much more important than Red Dead Online. Sexism in gaming.
Okay, and let me be clear about all this. I think there is a very sexist chunk of the gaming industry. I don't think that's a shocker. I mean, I think it's there. I think it's there pretty much everywhere. You'd say there's a pretty sexist chunk of America, of the planet. Like, there are sexist people out there. Shocker, right? But the tone struck during this takedown was so condescending. It basically came off as somebody lecturing their own audience for being terrible, and then they acted shocked when the audience didn't respond well to it. It just didn't work at all. I've never heard of G4. G4 was like, back in the day, it was like a TV channel show that covered gaming. It was like the place. The dream of everybody was to work at G4 one day. They got to play video games all day, hang out, look like they were having fun. And they rebooted it like a couple years ago. And you can see, look how many people are involved with this reboot. Their content never performed better than like Yong's or SkillUp's content. Like their content was always capped at like 25, 30,000 views and like died out really, really quick. It's amazing. Like, but they had millions of dollars behind them, given to them by big industrial investors, that believed in like the vision of, oh, gaming's bigger now than it was 20 years ago or 15 years ago. So let's reboot this thing and it'll be bigger than it was 15 years ago. Just totally unaware that the market has completely changed. No way it ever made money. No, I don't think it did. There's no way you can produce enough cash flow for this many people off of like pretty bland gaming videos that are corporatized and just don't really work well. Fantasy Files, thank you for the 5 again. That's why I like to support this channel. So many gaming creators overhype stuff and shove politics down your throat. Thanks, Luke. Yeah, and one day maybe I will shove politics down your throat. And all I ask is that the day that I get a big enough head that I try to do that, I ask that you make fun of me so much that I stop doing it. Because that's the greatest way to learn and adjust. Tease the crap out of someone until they stop. So I will need you guys to hold me accountable because, you know... You never know. I'm sure a lot of these guys back when they were small creators or in small startups and stuff, they're like, no, we will just not get into that stuff. We just don't want to mess with it. And then they get a big head on their shoulders and all of a sudden they think that they're invincible and can do that. Logan, you can hear and see how rattled she was by all the comments. Also, who's DSP? Darkside Phil. He's another lol cow that is like well known for being super, super toxic and like the world's most prolific e-beggar. Very, very funny. And Daniel, thank you for the $4.99 as well. They canceled Colin and they chose to not review Hogwarts Legacy because they all live in a bubble. Yeah, that whole thing. I'm like, guys, you are games reviewers and journalists, again, allegedly, and you're just not going to cover what is objectively one of the biggest games of the year, potentially even the biggest game of the generation in terms of units sold. Like insane numbers of units moved, and you're just not going to talk about it because you don't like the author behind the franchise that the game is built with it. Like, dry up, dude. Shut the hell up.
But I actually want to talk about something so much more important than Red Dead Online: sexism in gaming.
And I also want to be clear, I don't think that this is what killed G4. I thought that this was a great example of why G4 was dying, but G4 was never going to be successful in this rebooted form. It just wasn't.
G4 TV, which recently just came back from the dead, went on a mega rant and took a page from Druckmann.
No way, this is DSP speaking. This is Darkside Phil talking.
G4 TV, which recently just came back from the dead, went on a mega rant and took a page from Druckmann claiming viewers are sexist, pigs, and racists. Pretty bad if they ruined it, though. Hopefully they didn't ruin it for themselves, right? Huh.
Yeah, maybe I'm woke, but sexism in gaming is a smidge more important than Red Dead Online.
The show's
just a smidge.
Too long.
Is it? Me? I'm very traumatized by this moment.
Okay, good. Because the distillation of facts from waiting in the wings, because I really didn't know what I was walking into when they handed me this today.
All right, let's try and...
You know what? I'll give you
We'll give
Halo
each other a pass?
1 at 3 if you give me Halo 3 at 1.
X-Play is nearly 2 hours long.
See, it's just like, what is this content? It's just bloated. 3 hours long. Yeah, they were just trying to fill up a day. Because again, they were trying to run it like a TV program. I think it was an actual TV program.
The show is nearly on every day. This hard.
Attack of the Show, X-Play, X-Play, X-Play. And like this, I think, like this is why they needed so many employees, because they were trying to come up with enough content to run basically 24 hours a day nonstop. You can even see they have like Scott the Woz scheduled. And the thing is, like, it's so bizarre because when G4 was big, cable TV was kind of all you have. Like it's all it was. there wasn't YouTube in the same way that we have it now. It just was nowhere near as big as it is now. And so, frankly, the market's just different. It's just different. But all these people are like, oh, well, we'll just go back to doing what we did 15 years ago and everything will be fine. And it's like, no, like all of the people you want to watch your stuff for 24 hours in a day, if they want to watch Scott the Woz, they'll just pull up YouTube and watch Scott the Woz, whichever episode they want, not which one is just here. And not to mention, how many people in our generation have a cable subscription anymore? Most of us are running with like just YouTube Premium and then maybe Twitch Turbo or something. Like very few people actually have TV. It's amazing. Crisco, thank you for the 10. My goodness. Hi, Luke. Fort Solis comes out tomorrow. On my birthday, do you plan on playing it? I met the devs at PAX East and they seemed super passionate. First of all, thank you for the 10. And secondly, happy birthday. And thirdly, I'm down to check it out. I'm a little swamped right now, of course, but I'm down to check it out. I will add that to my list of to-do things. Yeah, who watches TV anymore? Yeah, the whole thing is built on a really, really dumb premise of just, oh, yeah, that thing that's like super outdated and that none of the young people that play games want to deal with. Yeah, let's just do that and spend tens of millions of dollars on it. It's just amazing to me.
Fulfilled 2014 Scott's wishes and found a new copy of the Smash Wii U Collector's Box. Yeah, I passed and pre-ordered on Amazon. Guess when I got it? After the shipping delay? Right now. I did finally fulfill 2014 Scott's wishes and found a new copy of the Smash Wii U Collector's Box. Of course, being battery powered meant more times than not when I'd want to play one of these things, I'd pull it out of storage and go, oh fucking shit, I left this thing on for a month. Of course, being battery powered meant more times than not when I'd want to play one of these things, I'd pull it out of storage and go, oh fucking shit, I left this thing on for a month. Of course, when talking about games that are lost and can't be played.
So all of his videos are just ever so slightly tweaked, but pitched as exclusive content. It's like, bro, it's really not. It's really, really not. I don't know, man. It just, the whole premise was flawed from the start. That's why, like, we can look at the whole scandal of, like, whatever her name is, lecturing people about sexism in the industry. We can be like, oh, that's what killed it. It's like, no, it was dying from the start. It was never going to be successful. It was always going to flop. It just probably accelerated it, and it gave everybody kind of a mascot of why it was flopping and why it was failing, you know. Look, the real question is, when are we playing together again? I think I gotta get through Starfield. Once I get through Starfield and then I can breathe. I think. Oh, hello. Hello. Oh, thank you. Do you want to say hi to everybody? Oh, yeah. It's a little gooby baby. Hey, dude. Hey, dude. Oh. He scratched his nose this morning. You can kind of see it. Oh. Oh.
He said, I got my daddy's eyes.
Yeah, he does.
Stage presence.
When we smile, we get like the little pull on the side. He got it too. It's a little gooby. My dad calls it Sioux Indian eyes because like my great grandmother or something was a Sioux Indian princess. I don't know. I haven't looked at ancestry.com, but apparently something like that. We have Sioux Indian blood in us. Even though I'm as pale as they come, apparently we have some Sioux Indian in us. So my grandma really looked it. But oh, thank you. I will try.
I had her swap out the sugar-free chai with a spicy chai.
Okay.
But it has sugar-free syrups in it as well.
I will try it. Thank you, my babe.
It's got like sugar-free hazelnut.
See you later, dude.
It's called Nutty and Nice.
Nutty and Nice. I like it. Love it here. Wood Man is so cute. I know, dude. I know, right? Reinstall laugh lines. Yeah, like you can kind of see it when I like the doctor said to just make sure to like wear a lot of sunscreen and like moisturize because I just by default got those, what are they called, crow's feet. It's like I don't know. What's the drink? She said it's a spicy chai with like sugar-free macadamia nut or macadamia nut milk with sugar-free something. I don't know. Oh. 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 Okay. That's not bad. The Sioux Indians, it's in like South Dakota in the Black Hills. It spills over a little bit, but it's mostly South Dakota. But it's Sioux. And yeah. It's cool. Oh, hello? Hello? Hi, dude. Do you want to say hi to everybody?
He saw us come upstairs and knew that we came to see you. And he's like, no, excuse you.
Do you want to say hi to everybody? Oh, your hands are cold. Oh, can you say hello?
Hello.
Hello. Do you have anything you want to say to everybody?
Hi, the buddy.
Hi, the buddy.
What's your favorite song?
La la la. Oh, now you gotta look at the Legos. Oh, and at Magnus the red. You look good in that stripe. So handsome.
That's my new outfit mommy picked out.
It's very good. It's very good stripe.
The dip collection.
Oh, and he loves the little AC unit. You guys feel it? Whoa. Yeah. Good job. Yeah, it did kind of sound like he said hide the bodies, yeah. Hide the bodies. We're raising him right.
We gotta get him to sing Beach Boys.
Can you sing Barbara Ann? Ba ba Ann. Yeah, we gotta leave that there.
What about Scooby-Doo, Dabba-Doo, Dooba-Doo, Dabba-Dabba-Doo?
He also loves Trash in the Camp from Tarzan. Yeah.
Shoo-ba.
You do it.
You're done with my nonsense. Grandma gave us some kraut burgers, so we're gonna warm those up upstairs.
Oh, good. Little gamer in the making. You're damn right. You're damn right. Oh, he's so cute. Everyone throw hearts. God damn it. Uh-oh, he went to the Lego set. Yeah, one time he tripped and he kind of smacked. Oh, thank you. That's the wax melt.
Every other month, Lachlan gives himself a black eye on something.
He
Last
just
week
trips
it
on
was the
something.
windowsill.
Yeah.
No.
Does it smell nice? Smells nice. Smells nice. Oh man. Oh man. Build him a gaming PC. Oh yeah, he's gonna be a gamer. For sure. For sure. You look good in that lighting too, dude. Yeah. Thank you. Strawberry? I mean, I think it's scented over Christmas cookies. No, it's peppermint pinwheel scent. Yeah? He's skeptical of the wax melt. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Sure is.
I'll take the clan upstairs. Just wanted to say hi.
Yes. Oh, that won't taste good, I promise.
Should we go make some lunch?
Go make some lunch? Go eat?
Just love how he pushes. He's got like the most confidence in the world. He just pushes his belly out and like.
You took the spire off?
Oh no!
Daddy, help? There we go. Yeah. Don't want to drop it. No. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Lockie didn't sign an NDA. He can talk to you about Starfield. Watermelon. It's like it's red, so it's a watermelon or a strawberry. Ah, smells good. Do you see yourself on the screen? Who is that? Smells nice. Yeah.
You laughing?
Oh, that's pretty cute.
He just giggled.
Okay. Oh, now he's giggling too. Man.
All right, Lachlan, come on, baby. You say bye-bye, Dada. We'll see you later.
Oh, you okay?
Are you okay? Oh, we're taking the wax melt.
We needed to toss that one anyway, so.
Oh, yay. Thank you.
I mean, just throw it away. Hey, dude, I love you. I love you. Sassafras. All right, much love. I love you. Thank you for the coffee. It's very good. Or I guess it's a chai.
Yeah. Is it good?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. It's supposed to only be 40 calories, but the spicy stuff, I think it's a little bit more.
Yeah, no, it's very good. Very good. Let's see. Anyway, yeah. Good Lord, man, you have an adorable family. I know, right? They're so cute. I like how every time he comes in your office, he starts playing with stuff. Eventually I'd like to have a, studio space big enough where like he could hang out. Like, I don't know if there's any streamers that have this, but like one of the things I'd like to eventually get is like a room that's big enough that we can have, like, if this is the rectangular room that's nice and big, we can have like the desk set up that I have here, maybe set up right here. And then the camera view goes and spreads this way through the room. And we can have like, you know, a couch here, maybe even like a sectional that spans this area. And then we can have like a big TV or a projector on this wall, like right here. And then like, this is all kind of shaggy carpet that's nice and comfy. And, you know, just like a big open space. We can have the display cases all along this wall and all along this wall. So we can have all the collector's edition stuff there and all the Lego sets and everything. Like, and then he can come in and he can chill on the couch while I'm either filming or streaming or whatever. I think it'd be so cool. This is like the door. I don't know. We'll see. Luke, your desk is clipping into the wall. Yeah. I didn't say I polished this. This is very rushed. It's quite buggy. Some people have that but for their dogs. Yeah, I would have it for my children. Is that bad? Have a child door instead of a doggy door, a child door. It's like one of those split doors that you can open, they can walk under. That'd be funny. Phantom Blade Zero, I think, looks really interesting. I thought the animation sets looked awesome. But I do think that's one of those games where it's going to be made or broken by how it feels when you're playing. And when you're playing it, it's going to either feel super smooth and super sexy, or it's going to have like a lot of very long animation chains that are automatic, which will make it more casual. And I'm not sure which route is the best way to go. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. He needs a little playpen with an iPad, lets him react things with poop emojis. Yeah, that'd be work. Signalis, I have not played Signalis now. I saw one guy a while ago, I don't remember who it was, that had a puppy cam, so he puts his new puppy in a play area with a camera instead of his face cam. That's funny. I've seen that. I've seen the like cat camera. A lot of streamers will have like back here, they'll have like a cat tree and the cats will hang out. The problem with my cats is that like Finley, he will try to sit right here and he has a lot of very white hair. So he just ends up getting cat hair all over the keyboards and on the mat and everything. And it just, I mean, a gigantic, like 14-pound cat, like a huge cat, which is what Finley is, laying here takes up the whole desk. So that doesn't really work. And then Hermione, bless her heart, she's a very sweet cat, but dear God, she is so dumb sometimes. She will like try to eat Legos. She will try to like, I put in like sticky traps for spiders, because every like fall-ish we start to get spiders, because we just do. We live next to a field. So I put down sticky traps to catch the spiders, and Hermione, again, bless her heart, every single time she will try to get them. And like she'll reach her paw in, get the thing stuck on her paw, and I'll shove it like deep behind there so she can't get it. She will lay on her side and like reach all the way in to paw it out. Then she gets her paw stuck in it. I'm like, bro. Oh, dude, my setup is covered. Yeah, it's like, I tolerated it for a while. I had like in the old apartment, the cats would come in with me all the time, and Hermione would sit right here when she was a kitten. She'd lay right between my keyboard and the Go XLR and everything. And it was super fun. It was super sweet. But as they've gotten older, they've gotten bigger, and they've gotten kind of more intrusive. And they also weirdly have gotten stupider. So they're constantly getting into trouble. But the biggest offense, and I don't actually know which cat is doing it, which is why it's a problem, why I can't just have either of them in here, is that one of the cats, maybe both of them, but at least one of them is chewing on cables like a dog. And I just can't do that. Like, I can't have Finley chewing on cables and then getting electrocuted like on stream. I'm just not going to do that. So like, I would love to have the cats in here more, but if he's chewing on cables, I can't deal with that, you know? I just can't. My 4-year-old has been watching a father and son play video games. He loves it, and they get hella views. Yeah, I think it'd be fun. I could see starting like a secondary channel where it's just me and Lockie playing games together. I think that'd be super fun. Wukong Black Myth, I think that looks really, really good. Same thing though as Zero Blade. I think it's gonna be, I think it's gonna depend on how it feels. It looks really good, but how it plays is another animal. Top games I'm excited for right now, probably Star Wars Outlaws. Really pumped for that. I'm referring to like announced games. Lies of P I'm really excited for. I would have said Starfield, but we're already playing Starfield. AC Mirage I'm interested in. I'm not sure if I'm like full on hyped for it, but I'm excited to see what that has to offer. Spider-Man 2 looks really good. You know, there's a bunch. There's a bunch. Clickbait title, Luke destroys a noob in Rocket League. Yeah. My rat died chewing on a random cable I did not notice. Oh, that's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking. Modern Warfare 3, I didn't realize they had announced another Call of Duty game until I saw it like yesterday, somebody talking about it. So that's how much I care about that. Phantom Liberty, I'm just considering that a DLC, so I wouldn't consider that like a full game. But yeah, I'm very excited for that too. But they got to win me over because, dear God, Cyberpunk kind of ruined all the credibility they had. Really, the end of this year is all about that. Like, Bethesda Game Studios spoiled all their credibility with Fallout 76. And Fallout 4 also wasn't very well optimized or polished or anything, but it was at least playable, certainly. But with Fallout 76, I mean, that was just a train wreck. And then same with Cyberpunk 2077. So this year with Starfield and also with Phantom Liberty, it really is all about whether these companies can win back that favor, whether they can convince people that they should be redeemed, whether they've earned the right to be respected again. And it's going to be an interesting story. Who knows which way it will tumble? I don't know. I was going to eat this, but then it'll be crunchy. So it's only 2 companies. Yeah, but it's like 2 of the biggest releases of the fall. Like 2 huge releases. Phantom Liberty promising to basically redo Cyberpunk, and then Starfield hoping to redeem themselves for Fallout 76. And so it's going to be interesting. I don't understand how anybody can be excited for Phantom Liberty after how terrible Cyberpunk was. Yeah, I don't think anybody should be hyped for it at all. Same with like Starfield. I don't think you should be hyped. Because hype makes you stupid. Keep a level head. They just screwed you over. Like, keep a level head. Not to say that they won't end up surprising you in a good way or a bad way, but keep a level head. It can never hurt to have a level head. Anyway, as you guys can probably see, I'm dancing around a lot. It's because I'm about to pee my pants. So what I think we'll do is we will call it there. We've been going about 3.5 hours. We'll call it there. Went about 2.5 hours longer than I was expecting. So we'll call it there. I will get back to work on these projects we got to tackle. And we will rock and roll from there. So yeah, we'll keep going. We'll keep going. But as always, much love, everybody. I love you dearly. I will be back probably tomorrow for Gamescom for that whole thing. So we'll be back there. And yeah, we will see you. Stay safe, everybody. Looking at the wrong camera. Stay safe, everybody. I love you dearly. Watch out for the video dropping tomorrow morning. And I will see you in the next one. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.